This is updated quite a bit out here. So just remember the audio is not as loud on this side out here. Hey! Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
It's a new one.
It's Thursday. We're hanging out. We have a kick-ass show. Oh my God. Just looking at the different topics and everything that we are going to talk about this show, I'm excited. I have hot takes on every single one.
And the cool thing is that you and I just vibed for like 30 minutes straight. You missed
I showed up.
show.
I showed up, and we literally have not stopped talking for the last 45 minutes, and now we're going into a 3-hour show.
Hey, he sees the new cam. Oh,
New
yeah.
cam. We're a little off-center. Does it
You
feel
just
like
you need to scoot in this way.
No, I feel like you need to come this way.
You want me to scoot in? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm good right here.
Because look how far you off into the
Right.
corner.
There we go.
There we
Like
go.
better?
That's better.
So here's the thing. It's not a new cam. It's a new lens.
New lens.
The other one was like the whole basement. Well, it was cool, but we wanted to get a little closer. We wanted to get with you, and to be able to talk to you all.
Yo, what's up, He Higley?
Hey. We got everyone, our regulars.
Mike Azul in the chat.
This is awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah.
And this is my, I think, 5th month anniversary on the show. In terms of, yeah!
What?
Cheers to the
Cheers.
show.
Thank you, Mike Azul.
That was actually me, but, Mike Azul, too. Oh, he's running.
Love it.
We
do mine.
Hey, Stealth Mouse, what's going on? Oh,
Hey,
I think
Stealth
you did yours
Mouse.
last time. I
Oh,
think you
did
did
I?
yours last
Okay,
time. You did it
all
right over the intro part. I
Okay.
waited on this one to get the cred on it.
Nice.
But as always, a good show. Ryan and I just had a lot of conversations behind the scenes of like where we've been, where we're headed, some ideas of the show going forward. We love the interaction with everyone, just being able to hang out. The weeks get tough. The news gets crazy. The things that are happening to us all along the way. We're not getting into that tonight, but it's stressful. It's anxiety. And, this is those moments where we can just hang out and realize it's fun to be people and connect with each other and talk about the things we like and have passion about.
Totally. And like, we fill up like a Trello board full of fun in things that make us excited to talk about during the week or the 2 weeks in between. And then I'm like, oh man, now I get to talk to Adam about all these crazy things that he's been adding to the Trello board for the last week.
It's fun too, because believe it or not, and this is what's weird about you and I, Ryan, do we text each other that much?
Yeah, I'm bad. I don't text anyone.
Oh
like
my
I'm like
God.
a hermit. I don't even text my wife. Like if you look at my text messages, there's like 4 people in them, and that's about it. But I feel like you gotta save it up. It's content now, Adam. You can't be wasting time. You can't be wasting precious hot takes on a phone call that only us can hear.
I mean, I text with all kinds of different people, but I check in with you, and I checked in with you these last few weeks. I just I was concerned, wanted to make sure you're doing okay.
Exactly.
Ryan is doing okay,
Doing
right?
good,
We'll
good.
keep it there,
Yep,
so
yep.
we have some good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as far as the show is concerned tonight, we have an interesting agenda. Of course, we talked about it, and we looked at our metrics, and one of the things that most people like is the talk show portion.
Totally.
And so, those first hour to 2 hours is us taking the hot takes. We're looking at industry, we're looking at AI, we're looking at do-it-yourself things,
Creative
cool things
stuff.
that we like,
What is it?
Vibe with.
The confluence of creativity and technology.
Absolutely.
is what I like.
It's right here. It's a hangout. But this is funny that this is what we talk about. And we said we would be doing this regardless if Twitch is around or
That's
not.
what I need. I feel like I need that on a t-shirt. I'd be doing this regardless.
Yeah. But so we're going to talk about AI are humans, but they're not. Interesting articles that talk about how it's developed, and people are developing relationships and seeing how they feel very much like a human, but are they? And we'll get some hot takes on that.
Yep. Yeah. What is this? The most expensive AI agents of all time are coming. 20K. OpenAI sort of. I think it got leaked. And then they just came out and said it. They were like, hey, these high-end PhD level researchers, they're going to cost you $20K a month. basically for that, which like I don't think a regular PhD researcher costs $240,000 a year.
You pay $20K, and the interesting thing is though it's one, but you get to query the crap out of it.
Yeah,
so
that's
maybe
true.
it's not really like
And it works
one.
24 hours a day, right?
Yeah,
Or 7
so
days a
you
week if
you have
need
it
to.
for multiple people to.
And there's layers. We'll talk about all that.
We got AI Einsteins
Or creative or just uncreative yes men. So what
Or
this
women,
was,
hey,
sure. What this was the CEO of Anthropic, which is a big, flagship model AI company. Their CEO put out a blog post like in November actually that was talking about the future, like this very positive future that he sees of this like AI Einsteins. And then just this last week, the CEO and co-founder of Hugging Face was kind of like, hey, which is another cool AI like place where you can, people post like their free AI models to try out. Huge in the industry, knows tons of AI stuff, is at the forefront of a lot of those things, was kind of like pushing back on that. And I think it would be interesting to look at both sides and sort of see where we land on it.
I love that because I got triggered a little bit on your first one. I was like, I don't agree with this. And the other one was like the opposite. I was like, all right, now I'm in the middle because I don't agree with that one.
Nice.
It was good times. Good.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that. Xbox has some announcements, and we will talk about it. Maybe we'll just leave that for a little bit. If you don't know about it, if you're an Xbox fan and you don't know what's coming out, it's pretty interesting things. But we got some hot takes a little below the surface if you haven't heard about that.
Yep.
ChatGPT has 4.5. We'll get a little hands-on.
Yeah,
What
new model.
What do we want to put into this model? What's the strength of the model, Ryan, so we could get some potential prompts from our chat?
So this new model sort of flew under the radar a little bit, and the reason is because it's not a major coding model. It is not breaking benchmarks data around math and all of those types of things that they normally set benchmarks on. But what is apparently it is super kick-ass at is sort of creative writing, like using it for marketing. It writes fiction very well, all of those kind of things. And so I have a prompt that I want to work on a little bit, like with Adam, because Adam's like the king of prompt writing. So I want to like use it because I have been trying to get ChatGPT in lots of different versions, 3, 3.5, 4, to give me a prompt for a very specific like story thing and we'll talk about it during the thing. I'm just going to tease it, but like,
hell yeah,
get this very specific story, and it has not done a good job. And so when I heard this and I saw a couple prompts of people like trying stuff and saying, here's what 4.0 did when I gave it this prompt, and here's what 4.5 did, I was like, now I got to try it. I gotta see if it can handle my prompt at this point.
I love it. I love to do some prompting. I was going to do it last time on the show, but
we did a little bit. We sort of last time on the show we did Copilot, like, and we were kind of like,
we did,
but it was more like, what did they think prompting
and how to do the prompting? But I'm just like, I love the idea of prompting. It's so fun.
I shared your thing, the Copilot thing, onto my work AI channel or whatever in Teams, and people were like, dang, that's awesome, thanks for doing that.
You should have put like Double Drop Down did the official release on that. Here's the video.
That's true. If you want to see my hot takes on it, go to hour 2 hours and 15 minutes into the show.
Oh man, you missed opportunities. All right.
I know,
all right. And so behind the scenes, we've been working on the game, and so we talked about this at the beginning. You hang out with us for the first 2 hours, we'd love it. That's the hangout. The last hour, we're gonna be selfish. That's us. If you want to get behind the scenes, what we're doing on the game, hang out with us. That's the cool part. Just listen to it. But if not, you can dip. It's how it is. But we've been working on the Game Boy game, but we've taken a pause, pushed the pause button, and I wanted to learn to Godot because I'm like, I really like game development. I learned a lot in GB Studio, so I've been taking a class, and I've made 2 games now. Now, of course, they're the games that are in the class, and they give you some of the assets,
Sure.
but you're learning how to do some games. So, Ryan, you're going to get to play my game
Great.
tonight,
I
and then
know.
we're going to walk through how I made the game in Godot and some of the details about it. I've learned some stuff. There was a point, I was probably like 17 lessons in, and I'm like, oh, man, this is tough.
Oh, man.
The coding is like
Was
getting to me,
legit.
and I'm like, it's not insurmountable, but it's tough. And I was like, just keep doing it. And so then I went a little deeper, and then a couple things started clicking as I went through all of it. And so I want you to do this, Ryan, and you're going to still be in that mode at this point. You have access to this. You're going to be like, oh my God, Adam, I'm not a coder. I'm not going to be a developer on this thing. But if you go through it once, I think I really need you to do it so then you can see how the art integrates into it and how we go forward. And if we have some collaborators out there that are down to be part of the Double Drop Down Studios
ecosystem,
we'd love to have some additional support.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's a little pitch.
You know, I mean, this isn't on the rundown, but some things came out like in the last day or two. I listened to a daily AI podcast that talks about some of these things, and you know, I was talking about that Anthropic CEO.
Yeah.
He had some hot takes today about vibe coding and how much coding will be done by AI in a year. He seems to think 90% of all coding will be done by AI in the next year.
But is that it's like through us prompting it to code, right?
Sure.
All right. Fair enough.
Well, Google is already doing 25%. In November, they said they're doing 25% of all of Google's new code is done by AI. So they're already at 25%.
And what percentage of crap does Google shut off?
That's true. How much did they bail on?
They bail on us so much. All right, so we have the cards.
Do we want to questions for humans?
Hell yeah! You out there? You ready for this one? Question for
Okay.
humans.
I knew Mike Azula would have hot takes on this prediction. Okay.
Love it.
First question for humans card. Love for anyone in the chat to chime in on their response to this. What are you 100% convinced is a scam? And where does your information come from?
Gotta use the...
I mean, I feel like the low-hanging fruit of this is like multi-level marketing things are a scam, right? Like everybody knows that. But what are the hot takes of things that like this is a scam?
Vitamins. Vitamins are a scam.
You should be getting your vitamin C from like oranges and stuff.
mean, like, is there really a legitimate thing where like you eat a vitamin, it actually helps you? Is like, I feel like I have these bouts where I'm like eating the crap out of vitamins, and
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't feel different about it.
Like a one a day, like that type
One
of
a day,
thing, right?
Like, is it really giving me what
really
I need? Is it?
doing
Can you
anything?
cram that into a little gelatin pill? Oh,
a little stealth mouse is coming in.
there's research on that. I don't know. I'm saying this is my hot take, right? This is where does the information come from? Oh, that's a good point.
Just vibes, your vibes around it.
Okay, to be fair, I probably watched a short or some other video that somebody was like, "Vitamins are a scam."
You're one evening's YouTube shorts away from being an anti-vaxxer. You're like, yeah, upvote that one. Vitamins, maybe they are a scam.
My
And then
brain went to
next
the
time-
Rolodex of things that could be scams, and that came to the top. No, honestly, I just had a thought on it because, like, I think sometimes I don't do vitamins. I do vitamins. What's the benefit?
I mean,
Vitamins. I need those.
I feel like again, this feels like low-hanging fruit. Like crypto sort of feels like a scam, like, or just not even a scam, just not anything except for straight up gambling. You know, like maybe it's just, hey, you're gambling to see if this thing goes up or goes down, and it doesn't really have anything to do with real life, or it doesn't have anything to do with
Is it like
anything.
stock markets and all those kind of things?
Totally.
Too?
I mean, then at that point we could get into all of that too. That like is capitalism a scam?
All right.
Next card.
Pause.
Next card.
Time out.
Next
Wait,
card.
chat. We got anything? What do you guys think? We need to know. 100% convinced.
Olive
is a
oil
scam.
in Big's box stores. Yeah, I heard. What is it? Extra virgin olive oil. Probably most likely just normal olive oil because there's no regulations around calling things extra virgin olive oil. I could see that.
Wait, what makes it extra virgin?
It's like more refined apparently, but then
Wouldn't you think it's unrefined because it's virgin? It's not been,
I guess
molested.
well, like the virgin part is it has less like stuff in it.
Okay.
So it's more
Okay.
refined, so it has less impurities. That's the word
Okay.
that I was looking for rather than stuff. Pablo got a Whataburger.
It's being built. That's no scam. It's happening. Whataburger. They're gonna bring you some like nice little flavors on a tray. This is gonna
Man.
be amazing.
All right. Should we go card number 2? We usually do 3.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're good.
Card number 2. What's the most overrated TV show?
Oh my god.
What is the most overrated TV show? Oh God. Yes.
You gotta say Whataburger. I don't know how you say it.
Oh man.
I heard to myself.
I heard yourself. You must have been loud.
I was
saying-
in this.
saying
Yeah.
that.
Hopefully that didn't blast your ears out.
Rated.
Oh.
Laura, Big Bang Theory. Yes, that is a terrible show. I'm gonna say what is the most overrated TV shows? Any show that is a reality show, likely. I mean, we talked a little bit about this before. Okay, How I Met Your Mother. That's a hot take. I like that show. Like,
Oh.
I like How I Met Your Mother, but I could see it being a mid show, but then got 17 seasons or something like that. Do you have any other shows, Adam, that you've watched?
I wanted to go to him.
How I Met Your Mother.
Oh yeah. Big Bang Theory. I'm going to go back to that one for a second because I watched like a behind the scenes of them trying to come up with the show. Is this like, I don't know if I'm coming up with this out of my memory or it was a dream, but they went in, they were trying to make the show and they were trying to figure out how to make it. And they went through all these iterations and they made somebody like really like super slutty in there and they're like, it wasn't working and this didn't work, and it was really hard to get that vibe, but then they somehow got it and audiences loved it and things like that. I haven't watched that. I haven't watched How I Met Your Mother. I don't watch a lot of TV.
Yeah, I mean, like you have watched TV that other people
Not
have
series.
suggested to you.
I see like an episode. I watched like a clip of the what's the Sheldon show? That's the precursor to that, right? Is that a thing?
Yeah, or like
is that good? I don't know.
Kid Sheldon or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that one. I mean, what was so the precursor to all of these? I feel like is the what was like the show that was like two brothers and the kid.
Two brothers coming to you,
and
live.
it was.
I don't know. Two brothers.
Yeah, it was like two brothers and they lived with them, and one was God, I'm terrible with names of actors. One of them was like
Golden
Charlie
Girls?
Sheen. 2.5 Men.
Two and a half
Two and a Half Men. Thank you everyone for being my brain for me. That was like the comedy that the people laughed at, and it had a whole laugh track that went to it. Oh man, the worst. It also had like 10 seasons.
I just think that most shows to me, and I remember it being a kid and watching shows, and then they felt like okay, but then as I got older, I don't know, they give me a vibe. And I'm saying most shows where I'm like, oh, it just feels like they're on a set, and I don't feel like connected to it, and it gives me a weird, creepy vibe. And I think part of it is that the overrated part could be we're like so into shorts and like reality kind of TV or reality other people creating things that the shows are losing some of their luster.
And Darth Gorokhan said Young Sheldon was actually pretty well made. The problem with it was that like it came from The Big Bang Theory, which I hated so much.
Why do we hate Big Bang Theory? Can somebody help me understand why? Like, what was the deal?
Because it's a normal person's view of nerds, right? Like, so it's like a bully's version of what nerds should be and how they act. Whereas if you're an actual nerd, you're like, come on, like it's like such a glorified version of that. Yeah, exactly. It's personal at that point. I go like, there's no, and maybe they were more nerds because they were like academic nerds, and so I didn't have, I couldn't, maybe that is how academic nerds act, but I don't know. That did not
I mean, they had the whole like normal vibey, like, okay, so I've seen some episodes where they go into like Star Wars and Star Trek and do the whole thing. Like, they felt like they had that. They played video games. But I've seen a lot of shorts, by the way. That's the only way I've seen some of this. Oh my God. You know what's going to suck right now is I talked to somebody about a video game earlier today, and it shows up on my phone, and now we're talking about Big Bang Theory and this, and I guarantee the shorts I'm going to be watching the next damn week is going to be all of this.
Because it's listening to you right now.
Yeah, and you know what? Just I want to take a little sidebar here. Is that when I've been watching shorts, my son a while ago was like, "Hey, I watched this movie," and I'm like, "Where the hell did you watch it?" He's like, "I watched it on TikTok." I'm like, "What?" And now I've been watching these things where like I watch like a part of a show, and I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting." That it cuts off. I'm like, "Oh, well, whatever." Next, and then like I watched the part that happened before that part. So I'm watching like parts of shows out of order.
Because how long can shorts be? Like 1 minute?
I don't know. I think you could go a little bit longer, but it's weird. It splits them up. It's a thing. Split Fiction is out.
Oh,
what is that?
So, side tangent, because Mike Azul brought this up. Split Fiction is the new couch co-op version. The next game.
Oh
basically.
Shit! Yes, It Takes Two. Right?
It Takes Two, and so I have purchased this game, and I am waiting to play it for this weekend to play it with my wife. And we're gonna play through Split Fiction. I heard it is very good.
Heard it's harder.
I heard slightly harder, but I heard like a fun, cool storyline. I feel like it looks good. It seems really good.
We went on a tangent. We were talking about Big Bang, and now we nerded out on TV shows.
Okay, last card. Right. What is the most underrated fast food chain?
Ooh.
Underrated. Like doesn't get enough love.
Holistically?
You love going there. You feel like it's amazing, and
that's a good one.
Is it casual riding a motorcycle? Oh man, that feels dangerous. Okay, Five Guys, Wendy's. All right, I feel like Five Guys gets enough.
Like,
love.
how do you get underrated? Like, Five Guys has the thing where like, you're like, you want a small fry? Here's a bag of fries, right?
Yeah,
Isn't that
true.
A thing?
Yeah, like they're like, here's your little cup, but then we just like pour a ton of fries in there. Like
is underrated mean that it's actually good though?
No, I think underrated means you really like it and you think it's really good, and it is good, but it just like it doesn't get love in sort of the.
And it's fast food. It has to
and
be
it's fast food. Got to do fast food. I have one.
All right. Hit me with it.
I feel like Taco Bell gets a lot of shit.
I was thinking Taco Bell. That's good.
Like,
it's funny.
Taco Bell gets a ton of crap, right? But I mean, I'm going to say as a vegetarian, tons of vegetarian stuff to eat. Like, always kind of consistent from what I can tell. A place that uses sour cream all the time and doesn't make people sick, or at least doesn't make me sick. Like that seems like a win, because that's hard to keep like cool and everything. Like, I mean, they make like this Stealth Out makes a ton of crap. Like, there's a million things to choose from. Like, I can get a majority of them. Like, there's a whole section of vegetarian stuff. I don't know. I'm Taco Bell, underrated fast food chain in my opinion.
Is Cracker Barrel a fast food chain. I don't know. It's like it's kind of
I feel like it doesn't have a drive-through. Like it needs to have a drive-through.
Drive-through
for that. Can you think of anything that you like?
Like I see. The thing is, it could be geographical because we're here in Colorado. So what if you're somewhere else and there's other ones like? Because I look at like Popeyes. Yeah. I really like Popeyes food, and I don't know how much people enjoy that, but they have some like killer chicken sandwiches.
Sure.
That I absolutely love. And now I know you're a vegan there, but
sure.
They make some really good chicken.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I feel like there isn't that many Popeyes, right? Like it's not like there's one on every corner. There's like
okay. What about Jack in the Box? Does anybody ever eat at Jack in the Box? Like how does that even survive? I'm sorry, I just don't know because I see it, but is that a thing? I don't know.
I don't think I've eaten at a Jack in the Box. I think I've eaten twice in my entire life.
I'm not saying it's underrated or overrated or whatever.
The thing with Jack in the Box is like I lived in Auburn, Washington growing up, and which is like sort of outside of Seattle, and they had a big E. coli thing where like multiple people died eating at a Jack in the Box.
I think that made it to Colorado. I remember that story.
And I remember being like, Jack in the Box is a shady place where you go to eat and die, and that was like in my brain for the longest time, and so I just always avoided Jack in the Box.
Look at Chad even sees it. E. coli issues when I was growing up. Exactly. That's what I think they can't get. I can't believe they're still there.
Like literally how many years, like 35 years later, and they cannot get over that stigma of that.
It's bad. Oh, I love the Sonic reference.
Oh,
my son loves Sonic. I told my kids, because they used to love McDonald's, and I was like, one of these days you're going to grow up and you're going to realize that there's a lot more fast food out there, and this is going to be your worst fast food place. Right. And they kind of done that. They've gone and they've looked at all kinds of other things, and they
don't choose McDonald's anymore.
They shun McDonald's at this point. Do you know, just to get on a tangent about McDonald's, is I've gone there. I mean, it's not like I don't go there on occasion. Do you know how expensive it is?
Oh, yeah.
I might as well just go out to a damn restaurant, sit down and eat because it costs the same amount. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Fast food in general has gotten ridiculous, but you're right. And I'm going to throw a thing out there. Have a vegetarian freaking burger at your place that I can put on stuff. Like we stopped going to McDonald's because I don't have any, like I would enjoy some McDonald's fries occasionally. I would eat a Frosty, but it's like I can't order anything there. And so we eat at Burger King now. Because they have an Impossible Whopper that I can get at Burger King. And so that's why we do it. And like I've spent thousands of dollars a year at Burger King over McDonald's, which we would totally choose McDonald's probably if they had one single like vegetarian
Wait
option.
You're saying McDonald's burgers made out of meat?
Yeah, right. You're like, what kind of meat? Horse?
Something.
All right, those are good.
I love those.
Those are always fun.
One of these days, how many of these questions are there? We need to.
I have like 100, so we're only through the first.
And you're putting them to the back.
I put them to the back, and I don't look at them. This is a double drop down. I should have purchased it with my business card.
I love those cards. They're good cards, Ryan.
Totally.
Ryan,
those are fun. And they have
questions for humans.
They're called questions for humans, and they have this is the friends one, but they also have a kids one and a business like colleagues one. Like they have a bunch of different ones.
I'd love to see some other ones. It's great. They're going to sponsor us.
Yeah, I know, right?
Sponsor us. As along with
the show
with our LaCroix sponsors here
and Jack Daniels.
No, it's not Jack Daniels. Today we're drinking Bullet Bourbon.
Bullet. That's in a Jack Daniels glass, though.
Because Jack Daniels is bougie, and they give that when you buy their liquor. All right, let's get into the first topic of the show tonight.
Let's do it.
All right, Ryan. Who posted this? I did. AI chatbots are people too, except they're not. Okay, so I don't know. Usually I throw these in the chat, but at this point, I think what I could do is you'll see it in our discussion. So some of these articles that we talk about are not necessarily the most timely of articles, but it came up because there were some conversations I have. I'm on Tildays still, by the way.
Okay.
So Tildays is a little social media site that I love it because as an end to my stream, you have conversations. It's kind of like a very watered down version of Reddit, but it's you have a lot of text conversations on here.
Okay.
And so they were talking about the concept of AI bots and how much they sound and they discuss like topics as though you're human. You're having these conversations there. And so when it comes down to it, they say, are AI chatbots people? So there's an ongoing debate of their because they have this human-like behavior, these ways that you interact with people. And I think we talked about this on a prior show too, where we said that people were developing these relationships and they were like falling in love, like the movie Her is like becoming a reality.
Yep.
And so now that we're starting to say like, how is AI being perceived emotionally or legally? And like, what are the things that we're starting to see as we go, as of this point right now? Is it something that we can treat like a real person? And you know, this is what the topic I think is. We can go back and forth. So if we put this out in there, I'm gonna go ahead and put this came out last year. AI chatbots are people, except they're not. What I wanted to hear from Ryan was, is there ever a point that we think, like, what is the line that they start to become something that you could say, like, okay, the conversation you had with this kind of chatbot should be protected? Because, for instance, as we've had discussions, we use certain chatbots, it changes, and it's like, it's almost like that little personality wasn't protected. It like you develop something so much that you actually develop a little bit of like a custom, or like a relationship. There was a company that made a toy that helped like kids that were having problems with, like, I can't remember exactly, like mental health issues. And this little toy you would talk to and it would give you advice and you would become your buddy. Had you heard about this?
Yep.
And then the company went under and they're like, we're shutting off your thing. We're shutting off your toy that you developed a relationship with.
Yep.
And it's like, not like the original purpose of giving you that connection was like opposite. Now you like killed the thing and created this whole other. So at what point do we start to think about AIs and having to protect certain amounts of its connection that you have?
I mean, to me, this feels like a super scary thing, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just another scary AI thing, because I feel like tons of kids are going to grow up with their first relationships or their first kind of like best friend is an AI, right? And the scary part about that is, you know, it sort of forces you to be like in real life, you have to deal with people, right? Sometimes people are shitty to you and you got to figure it out, right? Like sometimes your friend is a jerk at some point and you got to like tell them off, or you got to lay down the law or whatever. And you can't just be like, hey chatbot, can you be like 20% less of a dick right now? And it's like, great, sure. Yep. Okay. Here I am, 20% less, like, you know, controversial or whatever to you. And you can't do that with real people in real life. And so it'll be this crutch that people go back on. And of course, like a relationship with an AI bot is going to be a lot easier. It's going to be a lot more fluid. They're going to know they're not going to forget your birthday. They're not going to do any of those things. And so it's going to be so much easier to just slide into that thing of being like, nope, I got my AI girlfriend and she doesn't bitch about it when I go and hang out with my friend like these normal girls do. She just, when I come back, she says, hey, this is amazing. Hey, I hope that was fun. And it's just going to be one of those things that becomes really hard. The only thing that will save it is, like, I think at first, at least, that robot girlfriends are going to be terrible, weird sex dolls still for a long time.
Boston Dynamics.
Exactly.
Like Dynamic XX.
Yeah, exactly. And so you'll need, like, unless you're just going to like jerk off to a fleshlight inside of your chat bot, like nobody's, if you're cool with that, then great. But like, if you want to actually, like if you want to actually have a girlfriend that you know have like physical relationships with, you're gonna have to do the hard thing.
But that's what I'm getting at too, is like, okay, so I think the original conversation was, do we protect that? And now we've got to the point of saying we're going to get down this like weird rabbit hole. Because some people are lazy. Let's just put it out there. Like
Sure.
if you have the chatbot that like does every whim and you're able to have some relations with that thing, I mean, like, some people are just gonna settle for that. Like, cool, I got the thing, and now we're gonna be like stuck in their houses, and it's gonna be a way worse version of what was it? Robbie,
Right. Well, and part of this is, I mean, is that worse than just being alone and being an incel? Like, I don't know. Like, maybe like we have a, you know, I've heard like we have this loneliness epidemic. People are having, you know, younger people are having less sex. They're having less relationships with people. They have fewer relationships with friends and everything. If an AI robot girlfriend gets you to go out and hang out with more people and do more things and be more social, if it's good in the sense that like it forces you to get out and do things, then like maybe that's better than you just like mainlining, you know, video games and Red Bulls and YouTube shorts like in your underwear in your basement for like, you know, your entire decades.
That's if it has its own kind of way to get you out. Like if it's just like, you know, what are we gonna do today, babe? All right, we're gonna sit here and play video games. That is awesome. You're the best video game player ever. Have I ever told you how amazing you are at video gaming?
Well, because I feel like that'll be one of those things where it goes like, you know, because you talked about like we talked about it like lobotomizing. Like, so let's say I have the robot girlfriend, right? And then the company that owns the robot girlfriend says, these are getting too, you know, people are abusing them or people doing something. And so it just like changes its personality.
Crotch is breaking down too
or
much.
Like, yeah, like it's, or we're not getting enough engagement from our people. So we're going to like turn up some kind of knob on this. Like, and then now your girlfriend is completely different. Like that's going to piss people off for sure. Again, I always feel like it comes down to that thing. You're going to have an AI in your house that is air gapped from the internet or whatever, and it doesn't get any of that stuff, and it doesn't get updates, and you very specifically tell it what you want to update and do, and then you're going to be like, good, now Susie, my AI housemate, is not going to get lobotomized by OpenAI because they say that she is like too, you know, progressive for this, you know, administration.
Oh man, but think about it from like just people are not going to be able to upgrade their own crap, and things are going to go wrong, and you're going to have AI mechanics for your robots.
Sure.
And
yeah, like you're going to have a person come by and stuff.
Yeah, we're spiraling out of this control in this. Hey, but there's some great comments. I got to just call out. Ryan has been thinking about this a lot.
Well, it's like there's an entire movie called Her that is
that was
like
years
amazing
ago, buddy.
And awesome. Well, and like, do you remember? There's also a very pertinent Futurama episode that has a section that says like, dude, like it's almost like a public service announcement in the future that says, do not sleep with robots. Like, you're not allowed to sleep with robots, right? Like, you're not allowed to fornicate with AI. Robots can sleep with robots and humans sleep with humans, and that's it. And like, this is a whole episode about it. And it's for this exact thing, because why would you go out and take Susie out to get a milkshake when I could just make out with my Marilyn Monroe bot?
I think I don't think we came to a conclusion tonight. We didn't have any definitive pieces, but I think you're 100% like, it is just going to be a crazy future. I was thinking about Deep Seek in the discussions we had about that recently, and apparently there's this whole other like, I don't know, I want to say the word estuary, but you know, some other like branch of AI work where people have been able to figure out how to get it on reasonably affordable equipment at their home. Yeah. Like ones that are like, yeah, you could get some really good responses like you get on ChatGPT or OpenAI. So I imagine we're close to where we're going to have some bots that are going to be out there that'll allow us. Now, what I start to get nervous on is not this relationship side. Like, where you have the criminal organizations that have their crazy like
Totally.
bot that goes and kills people.
Yep.
And then they're just like, could you charge the person that programmed it? Do you charge like what happens in those scenarios? And now we're going to have to like have protection bots, and it's going to be a whole crazy future.
Hey, I mean, you know, if you can't protect yourself from a kamikaze drone swarm, how can you protect yourself?
It's going to be a Big Hero 6 in here. But I got to say, yeah, Mike Azul definitely, Her was a movie ahead of its time. I like, even when I watch it, I'm like, man, this is like a distant future. And I'm like, holy crap. Like, it's happening. Like, it must have been, they had their finger on the pulse.
On the pulse, 2026.
Sure. All right, so let's get into some more discussion, because we're talking about, you know, the relationships. Do they have rights? Do they have that? You know, at some point in the future, I think it's going to be really hard and indistinguishable. I think that's what my point was of bringing that forward, is that there's going to be a point where we're going to have that discussion and something's going to be pleading and like, no, don't disconnect me. And people are going to be like, it's just a robot. It's doing that on purpose. And the other's like, you are killing something that has life.
Yeah,
It's going to be terrible.
Another thing ahead of its time, Animatrix. Watch that.
Oh, my God. If you haven't seen Animatrix, that is an amazing. It's a 2-part series in that one. That's really good. Really? All right, Ryan. 20K ChatGPT.
Yeah, OpenAI released some stuff. I think it got leaked a little bit, and they just came out, and they were basically saying, hey, everybody's in on agents. 2025 is the year of agents, right? Vertical agents, horizontal agents inside of companies. Like, you know, everyone's going to have this little fleet of agents that are helping you. Everyone's going to be a manager, you know, of bots that go and do work for you. And so OpenAI like created deep research. And so deep research is a model inside of OpenAI, ChatGPT, that basically does like longer thinking about things. And this was their way to get around just having more, giving it ChatGPT up until this year, like had just been give it more info. If you just keep pumping more information into it, that's how it gets smarter. And what they figured out was, no, what you can do is you could just sort of tell it like, hey, think about things for longer. Go in, do your train of thought about things, think about it, pause, then look at what you've already done, then build on top of that. And so what deep research does is like it builds that. So what they're saying is they're like, okay, now we have a deep research, which is like a PhD level version of a person, but it can just sort of answer questions. Now what they're building is like an agent that can go and you say, hey, go do research on this drug cancer something, right? Go do this on, you know, stock market performance over whatever, something like those really high level research things on like nature and medicine and all of that. And they basically said, hey, that takes a ton of compute, right? Like,
yeah, how many tokens is that going to go for?
Literally so much, right? Like your little ChatGPT thing that comes up and it just pops up almost instantly. This isn't doing that. This is taking hours of thinking about things, and just talk about pouring gallons of water down the toilet. You know, it takes a ton of energy. It does that. So $20K per month for this kind of PhD level research agent, you know, so it's very specifically trained, right? And I think you just let it go, which, I mean, what is that? $240,000 a year.
It's like, I mean, depending on where you're at,
yeah,
that's probably just like, and so I'm interested to see, and I hadn't got deeper into this. I saw it was a thing. Like, what's the use? Like, is everyone in the organization use it? Is it like it's not autonomous? You use it to like query things, right?
Yeah. And I think what it is, again, I'm not exactly sure. I don't know if they're training it specifically for you or anything like that, or if you're training it on material. But I do think like it's meant for very specific use cases, right? It's not a programmer, like, because that's a different tier of this. It's not even just a highly skilled worker at your job. It's like very specific research and development and, you know, like for healthcare and things like that, like that it's going to do stuff in. So probably not everyone is going, even big companies that could afford this, right? Are probably there's only specific use cases for it. And a ton of people went $20,000, like couldn't DeepSeek do a little version of this? Like I think what it did is it like set this bar as not only saying you couldn't basically replace your entire company with this research person, right? Because you'd probably have to have multiple of them, I imagine. And
it doesn't have the reasoning. This is the thing that I think we're getting to is that, and you've had this conversation before, and this is before this, and so you kind of predicted the future. You were saying like they're coming,
I'm a futurist,
and then they're going to be putting these things in the organizations, but what we haven't really thought, it's like it can't go off and make these decisions. Like you have all these this amount of reasoning that happens, this like kind of prompting, and then the decision that really affects the environment you're in. Because if you don't, I'm trying to think of a good example here. So if you work in an organization, there's going to be some inherent like cultural things or some strategic things that are out there that are going on. And you're going to make a decision, and sometimes, like, when you're prompting an AI, you're not going to go and say, like, here's how we're strategically working. And by the way, here's this cultural thing, and then be able to describe it in enough detail that then the AI knows it enough.
I don't think it's doing any of that.
I know, but that's my point,
Yeah.
is that I don't think you could autonomously set an AI off to go do that. So, the reason why is that it wouldn't know enough of those nuances, and it'd be too hard to learn nuances that weren't like written or some things that you fed it with. So this one is going to be that one that you have a team of people, they're working on research, and they're like, all right, let's go and consult PhD agent, and then they're going to be querying it, and it probably learns off of what the group is working on. And then the output is good enough that it actually starts to produce the results, and like it benefits the company that's worth $20,000 a month.
Yeah. I don't know. I think people are going to undercut this, and I think it's only going to be for very specific things. Because you're right, like it's not going to know like all of those variables in that, but I think it could do things in medicine, right? I think it could do things in economics, like things where there's massive data sets and you're being like, go and look at all of these data sets and like basically bring me back like reports that normally would take teams of people weeks to compile. You could be like, hey, researcher, go and create me that and tell me, for the city of Colorado Springs, what is like the traffic things for every single bit of the entire city and how it affects everything. And then you'd be like, great, it gave me a report that does all of that. And now I can make decisions off of that, where I used to have a team that spent months compiling all of that data and writing reports and doing it.
Yeah, you get there to a faster
Right.
point. I just want to call out, Darth Gorkon makes a good point. Human reasoning is why humans may be a plague to this. Like, you're absolutely right. Like the context around what reasoning is. We reason within our own little, like, world of what we think is important.
And bad, like...
In bad ways, for sure.
Commercialism and economics and capitalism and all of that kind of stuff, and power and all of those things.
But in the same note is that if we built AI... and it ever gets to even a point where it's even some version of reasoning, like what is it going to reason on? Is it going to reason on the fact that we built it and it reasons around our concept of reasoning? Is it ever going to get to a point where it reasons beyond that because it sees something more? I don't know.
Alignment. It's the alignment. That's what, like, it has to align with our values.
I think that it's going to be an interesting step forward because there might be some like cutting some bullshit out of the way with this kind of a thing. So if you query something, it goes and it spits out enough of the data, and it like, and I guess when I say the BS, it's like there's maybe some stuff that somebody has to go out and reflect and think and do this work. And that's really what the AI does, just faster. And then it gives you the options. It's kind of like when we write an email or you do something and you get some ideas really quick. It's just going to iterate quick enough that you can think of that next thing. Oh yeah, cool. You thought about those 20 different ideas. These 10 are probably the best that we should try, and then move ourselves forward.
Yeah. Okay, because we're gonna have more of these stories are gonna have these kind of philosophical things. So.
Okay, well here let's end it like this. Wait, the other one was it was $2,000 a month for a high income knowledge worker.
Yeah,
and we talked about that, right? Would you pay for any of these at this point?
I mean, I wouldn't, but I don't own like a business that would want to do something like that. So maybe, and then software development bot is $10,000 a month.
Software development bot.
Yeah,
so it's like you'd have to have a pretty damn good, like if you were an app maker and you're like, man, I don't know how to make an app, but I have a really good idea and I can prompt the hell out of things.
Ooh, now you're talking about vibe coding.
Ooh, I like vibe coding. Maybe I've done that already then.
Yep.
All right, we got some good chat going on here. All right, get me acquainted with this next one. AI Einsteins or uncreative yes men, women, insert.
Yep. So Dario Amodei is the CEO of Anthropic, which does vibe leadering. He is the CEO of Anthropic. They do an AI model called Claude. It does a ton of, it is the go-to thing for programmers. Like it has just become the default, AI model that you use for legit actual programming and writing program, outside of ChatGPT, outside of all of those Gemini and all of that stuff. And they built it towards that.
So Anthropic is that one. Anybody using Anthropic out there? I have not used it.
I have used it a little bit, but I'm not I don't code, so I would use it, more for the kind of just kind of normal chatbot stuff of it. But anyway, so about November, he wrote this blog post, a lengthy blog post called "The Machines of Loving Grace," and
so nice.
So nice. And basically it was saying like, hey, man, we are ready. We are on the precipice of like just a utopia. Like he was hardcore in the thing of like, man, this is going to, we're going to get basically a bunch of Einsteins in every field imaginable, right? Imagine an Einstein for relativity and physics. Imagine that same Einstein in cancer drug treatments, right? Like just biology and health and economics and all of that stuff. Imagine a team, a field of Einsteins in all of those things. Like how could that not lead to a utopia, right? Like say it got into government and you'd be like, right now, how does Colorado get, stuff of like, how does it get money allocated to it and stuff? Like a congressman has to go in and lobby for it and do all of these things and be like, here's my constituents are mad and they want it to go in this area. Like it is very messy, right? Like imagine a bunch of Einsteins in there being like, here's who actually needs the money. Here's how it should be allocated. Here's how taxes should be done. Like imagine that for income inequality. Imagine that for education across all of these things. Like he just basically says, exactly, the AI is going to be our Lord. It's going to like help us in every way. It's going to redefine our social like experience that we have. Like it is going to be this amazing thing. Okay. That was his take on it.
So do you want to hear both takes or do you want to talk about that?
Do you want to talk about his? Like we could talk about
I feel
his?
like we should talk about
Sure.
this one for a little bit before we get into that, because then we can
before the rebuttal, because basically there's been a rebuttal this week from another high AI person.
So
what do you think about that?
No. Number one, thank you for bringing this up because I think it's a great way. It feels as though you have somebody that's so, like, that's his job. He's a CEO of this,
of course.
So his lens is like, this is what I live day in, day out, and they're gonna be like, oh my god, this is life changing. the one that like stuck out to me initially, like I have things on all of it, like peace and governance and like work and meaning. Those were the ones that I was like, okay, everyone's trying to monetize the crap out of AI, and everyone's not trying to like really make work better for anyone. Everyone's like, I want to make more money to do that. And so until we get to a point where we actually give a crap and have empathy for each other and want to make a utopia, how the hell are we going to get to that?
Well, I think you have to get past. Basically, you have to get out of the economics that we're in right now. Like you can't have capitalism.
But that's what I'm saying is that like I don't know how to get past that
It's
right now.
Well, I think how you get past it is you say every AI can do every task imaginable. And then you go, what is everybody doing? Like, and you can't just have 10 kings of AI and everybody else is giving them back rubs. Like you have to have a whole new social construct that you put together in that sense, or just everyone starves to death. And because also too, like for Walmart to be able to sell things to people, right, and be super rich, there has to be people who have jobs who can afford things to purchase from Walmart, right? Like have to have a middle-ish class for there to even be the back and forth of this, right? And so like in that sense, you either figure it out now, if AI was just taking over blue collar work, I would be real scared about that, because guess who doesn't have any sort of political, use in America? They don't have the power or anything. Like, but guess what? White collar work, like that is lawyers and that is doctors and that is congressmen and that is all that stuff. And if now you have an AI that goes, hey, I could do all that. I could do all those things. Like they're going to be the first ones to be like, I guess we need some kind of universal basic income for this, as opposed to, let steel workers starve to death or re-skill up in something else. Like that's the only thing. Like if it takes over all the jobs really quickly, then I feel like you get a little bit of this, but it's still going to be a messy.
I think you're hitting on it, and chat is hitting on this too, is that people want to have motivation and do things and feel accomplished. Like, I sure as hell don't want to just sit on my butt and have AI go do a bunch of crap for me. Like, no way.
But it's going to be, it's just the crap that you do is not going to be working for a giant corporation and trying to push forward their agenda, right? I feel like how you're going to feel accomplished is you're growing a garden on your property, or you're helping your community, with elderly care, or you're helping children at their school because you have more. That is the utopia side of this, is that you have more time because you don't have to work 40 hours a week to pay the mortgage, right? You have to work 5 hours a week to pay the mortgage. You're still working. You're still managing a fleet of AI bots that go out and do your job, but that doesn't take 40 hours a week. It takes 5. And then the government is being like, hey, I'll pay you the rest of your salary if you like go do these jobs that sort of AI can't do, which is read to old people or go and help kindergartners learn how to throw a baseball in the backfield. Like, I think that's what it is. It's community-based.
I think that becomes very unfulfilling at this point. For some people, because isn't it like the idea that we're discovering and learning and using our brains, and if it's like taken away from it, they're like, but what's the point of it?
You don't think so? I think you just have to have a mindset shift, right? If your mindset shift right now is that like
doing the latrine,
I honestly think it's going to be things like that. Like, and if your mindset is the reason that I feel fulfilled at work is because I helped a company gain 1% market share, I think like that sucks. Like that is not a cool way to feel fulfilled at work, right? But if your work is I helped a bunch of 5-year-olds like learn how to like kick a ball better, I feel like I could feel
maybe
like
I don't know, that would motivate me. I mean, it'd be great to help someone.
Or maybe your thing is you make an esoteric Game Boy game that 1,000 people give a shit about, and it gives them like joy. And you're like, that is a cool thing that I can do. And AI doesn't do that because it has my weird vision of what this is. And I did it through vibe coding, and people like it and we talk about it, and that is your fulfillment. And that, it's not making as much money as you possibly can, or I feel like it sort of levels the playing field. That's this utopia.
Ryan's utopia is probably different than others. I like your thought process. I want to just call out, we got some new chatters with us tonight.
Love
Somebody
that.
wants to Drew Dreamcast, and you know what? Dildo wants to fight us. I just said that out loud, didn't I?
Nice.
We want to fight to the death, and I'm pretty sure if you wanted to see that, you would have joined us for the 24-hour stream where we nearly did that with rubber bands nonetheless. So it is the thing that happens on here. But just to kind of like get to that perspective of it, like I hear where you're coming with a lot of that. Yeah. I feel as though if we could get to a point where maybe it's about even just sustaining your own family in some kind of a capacity, that's one thing. I remember a comic book that you gave me a long time. Oh my God. Are we going to get a slappening tonight? Oh my God. But no, sustaining your family in some capacity. Like what if it was like, all right, you can go and grow your own food and like you build your own thing. So, hey, welcome to the double drop down. This is awesome to have you with us today. Totally. So I don't know. I feel
it's
like
a mindset shift.
It
would be.
But okay, that comic book that you had sent me, do you remember which one I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. There was this one where it was the future, and this guy, they were like, just take this pill. Once you take the pill, you won't feel like you need to have go work or anything. He's like, no, I gotta work. Like that's what makes me feel good. Yep. And it goes throughout the comic. He's trying to get like these different jobs, and then he gets fired after a day, and they're like, no, AI and robots do it better. Yep. And then finally at the end, he's like chucking the pill.
Takes the pill, and then he's cool with it, right? Like it's gonna be that thing. Okay, so should we talk about the negative side?
Yeah. Here we go.
Okay, so that was the thing. It brought up lots of content, lots of conversation around that, just like we've had here, the Amadei from Anthropic talking about the utopia side. And then just in the last week, the guy, and like, can I see what the guy, Wolf, Thomas Wolf, which is the co-founder and chief science officer at Hugging Face.
Okay.
He came on to like a show or, some kind of panel or something like that. And he was like, hey, I got this hot take. I haven't thought it out completely, but like basically I read Amadei's like blog and I was like, oh my God, yes, this is the vision that we are going towards. And then he was like, then I read it like a couple more times and I was like, this is all horse shit. And so then he wrote his own blog post in this just last week, and it's called the Einstein model. And basically it says like, here's his main thing.
I'm liking this already.
Is that like, you're not going to get any of that crap. You're not going to get a bunch of Einsteins in every single field, because you know what Einstein did? He thought about things in a very different way than every other like mathematician and, physics and all of that stuff. He didn't just recreate a bunch of stuff that was like already in the atmosphere and already being talked about and sort of like change it slightly and give it back to the thing. He like rethought in an entirely different way how physics and math and all of that stuff was. And that's what makes Einstein, right? Like the exact same thing with like amazing artists, right? Amazing musicians, amazing, like everybody in the field that gets up to that super high level and you go, oh my God, we got to have 1 million of them. We got to have 1 million of them working. Like they don't just regurgitate a bunch of shit that like everybody else has been doing. So like what he's saying is that like, you're not going to get a bunch of Einsteins. You're going to get a bunch of yes men. You're going to get a bunch of people who are just regurgitating the same garbage over and over again. And you're not going to like, Amadei was saying you're going to get a century, 100 years worth of progress in like 5 years, because you have all these Einstein, you have all these amazing thinkers. And this guy, and like Thomas is saying from Hugging Face is like, you're not going to get that, man. You think that's what you're going to get? but you're just going to get a bunch of recycled, garbagey, like iterative movement forward. And you're not going to get these amazing breakthroughs that you think you're going to get. And so all you're going to get is a bunch of people displaced of their jobs. You're not going to get cancer, like, basically like cures and things like that you would get from like human beings who have like think about things in a weird, different way. Right. And also too, that like, these benchmarks that you're putting all of these AIs up against, and every AI researcher is saying like, oh my God, I got to beat these benchmarks. There's these benchmarks that I got to hit. And if I want my shit to show up on, AI Twitter, and people be talking about it, it's got to rank in these things. And all of those benchmarks are around like already set up math theorems,
like the Turing
and all of
things.
stuff, and we blown past the Turing test like a million years ago, and like nobody even cared about it, right?
We're like,
and
yep,
we did it. We got past that. And so anyway, his whole thing, and I have some holes to poke in this, like, and we have hot takes on this, I imagine.
Okay.
But like his whole thing is like, you're not going to get that. You're going to get a bunch of job displacement, and you're going to get a bunch of sort of like half-hearted, like middle of the road, smart-ish AIs that are not going to push the field forward and make this utopia that you think you're going to get.
Great find, number one, and amazing explanation. Can we give Ryan a round of applause? I mean, honestly, you did a great job.
Hey,
I like looking and going both angles of that and starting to see it. Like anything that you see in that regard, it's probably somewhere in the middle, right?
Right.
It's not going to be this utopia. It's not going to be like so drab that it's not going to move us forward. I think that as we look at it, you're right. There's these benchmarks that we're going towards. There's these other kind of advancements. If the idea is to think like outside of the box, I think this is where we start to think about how do you get AI to start. And we talked about reasoning before, and maybe that's the wrong word, but like to think down different angles, and maybe like the deep research is an example of that new kind of perspective of where you like you go through and you grind through something a little bit more and you question it, and then maybe you like once you get to the point of having a thing, you're like, what if this was 100% wrong? What would be the opposite way?
Right.
And you build these models that actually start to do and emulate some of those areas. Now, the hard part is like, where do you land on actually moving forward at a question? Like, is it just like, I'm going to be going 180 of what my thought was for the fact that I'm being programmed to do that? Or was it that somebody like was thinking like, okay, I got to like be reflective. Oh my goodness, there's that thing that you could go this way. Right. And it was completely not like programmable. Like, wasn't it with like Einstein that he would go through for like long walks? I'm pretty sure that was the thing. And as he would go on the walks, sometimes like his environment around him would trigger a thought,
an epiphany
that would give him something else. So it wasn't like you could program that. It just happened to be in the environment around you. And so I don't know. My initial thought on this is that both sides are pretty polarized as to which way that they could go. I don't really believe in the first one. The second one more so. I just think that we haven't got to a point where we started programming these AIs to start to look at these different perspectives, and maybe it'll be a little bit more critical of what it's spitting out.
Yeah. Okay, here's my take. Here's my take on these. I think you're right. I think it's somewhere in between these two. I think for right now, you need people in the loop to be that genius in the loop, right?
Yeah.
If Einstein had 1,000 PhD level AI people, what would Einstein have accomplished, right? Like amazing things. I want to give Einstein the human that has that amazing like intuition and vibe and like ways of looking at things in different ways. I want to give him 1 million, AI PhD, level people to like help him get in that direction. And if that helps the Einstein that is now languishing in sub-Saharan Africa, like get some education and be able to download DeepSeek onto his computer and have that kind of stuff to build that up, I think we just get more Einsteins in the world, right? We're like, the reason that Einstein was, he was white and he was male and he was in the right place and he was at the right time and had the right ideas and he did that. But there's like hella other super smart people in the world that don't have that kind of stuff. But if they have all these AIs helping them, I think we just get a bigger and broader thing, right? So I think it like helps in that way. I think the second thing is there's two other things. One other thing is like, say, maybe you don't need an Einstein. Maybe instead of, does one Einstein, if you take one Einstein, does 1,000 mid-level-ish PhD students working 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week equal one Einstein? Like, maybe. Like, I don't think we know that, right? Because we don't know what 1,000, working a million things. Like, maybe just brute forcing, like, ideas and processes and trying things. Like, because Einstein, and we keep saying Einstein, but it's a million different people in a million different smart, like, areas of stuff. But if, like, they had the opportunity to work on something, like, that hard, that much, that often, like, I think you would get some of those things out of it that, like, just now with not having that capability, you don't, right? So in some ways, maybe you don't need AI Einsteins. You just need the brute force to, like, push it through.
Okay, so I'm hearing what you're saying, and as I read the chat and as I just kind of think about this, there's an interesting word that comes to mind that makes some of this happen, and it's one that's being purged from a lot of our crap right now, and like it's diversity in a way.
Right.
Like, you need that diversity of thought so you don't come to this like singularity and then this recycled way of thinking, and so you challenge each other enough because even that challenge helps you to think a different way, and you're like, holy crap, okay, I didn't think that, but now maybe I should. It reminds me of even like the old painters that used to like be like, check out what I did, and you're like, holy crap, that guy did so good, like I didn't even think you could do that. I'm gonna go do that. And so with an AI, it doesn't think that way. It's just like, all right, I'm going to do that. Somebody said it earlier, make AIs compete. That would be interesting. Like, what's the competition to do that? But I think there is something to be said that, like, you can't replicate that diverse thought that gives you that second reflective piece to be like, yeah, that's a good point. Maybe I should try this other thing.
Well, and like,
go a different way.
Bobby7 in the chat is saying that, like, the human race is currently we're brute forcing those areas, right? Like, we're just doing that as a gigantic sort of society, doing that tiny bits forward, tiny bits forward. But then you have the genius that then goes, oh my God, and moves us in a completely different direction. And then tiny bits, like, already. So in this sense, AI is just doing that faster, right? You have humans being like, oh my God, think about it in this way. And then AI is doing it a million times. Like, so I think you could get there. The last point that I want to make is something that we don't know about, which is, we don't know where AI is going after this, right? We thought there was sort of a plateau when we had fed it the entirety of the internet and we had said, here's the whole internet. Tell us, like, how smart you can be. And it sort of started doing off. And then we went, oh, here's a different way to think about every bit of the internet. And then now it's going good again. Do at some point we get things that are really creative and thinking about things in different ways, and like all of that stuff that we said Einstein was, which was thinking outside the box, not thinking about it in the way that everybody else did. I'm not convinced that, like, AI can't get to that point at some point. Like, we just don't know. And then you really do have a whole society of AI, like, Einsteins out there, really. And then you have brute force, which is millions of them thinking about the thing and in creative and different ways and outside of the box things. And that's where I think you just get, like, talk about that exponential ramp up of AI. Whew, that's where you get it, right? Is millions of Einsteins in every single different capacity thinking about things in creative and new ways. And that's where they sort of, I feel like that's where you get the Wall-E future, where like, we have things that we can't even fathom how smart they are. And they just go, hey, little humanity, we left you with some fun TV shows and set up just so you all can like eat whatever you want. And we're going to go explore the cosmos and you just hang out and be you.
I hope maybe it goes that way. Cause I really think that maybe we're at this point where we could potentially see a change for humanity. Like, does it matter to be a human? What does it even mean to be a human anymore? We've started to download ourselves into things that can emulate how we act as humans, or conceive how it almost feels like some AI bots probably have as much personality, if not more, than some people that I know.
Totally.
And I continually get to this point that we keep feeding every possible piece of information into this thing, and that, as we have diseases and global warming and other things and we die off as humanity, the thing that's left is this singularity or this AI or a collection of AIs that have now become the next version of what it means to be a human, if you will. And I know it's crazy, but that's what I always start to think about is that, we're just these little fleshy bodies. And what if we put it into this thing that can last, thousands of years, and it's in this computer and it spits out and has conversation and does everything that we can. And so we're grading ourselves off of, where we could develop and how we could move ourselves forward into the future. But does that even matter, honestly?
Right. Well, and I think at some point it says Darth Gorkon, the lowest, it is low view of humanity, and I love that. That is it's because at some point it's you have to think about yourself. We humans have elevated themselves to be oh, we are so much better than all these animals and all of this stuff, right? And then when you have something that is so much smarter than you and better than you, then you're well, maybe we're just a slightly smarter animal on this planet, right? And what do animals do? Are animals trying to come together and build a thing that gains 1% market share in their freaking anthill? They're not doing that shit. They're helping their family. They're living their life. They're finding food. They're eating stuff. They're hanging out, and they're picking bugs off of each other. And at some point, maybe that is just where humans get to, and you go, all right, humanity is not pushing, economics and capitalism forward. It's hanging out with your little community that you're in and being happy and growing food and hanging out with each other and not working yourself 60 hours a week to death. And just so that you can have a roof over your head. A freaking wolf ain't doing that.
I love the chat today. It's been so
chat
good.
Is so good today. I'm glad everyone.
This has been I agree with you, Ryan, and I think that's one of the things. I had a recent coworker. They just came back from about a week's worth of vacation, and they say every time I come back, I have this reflective moment of what the hell am I doing with my life?
Totally.
That felt what living was like. And now
Yeah.
I've returned to this, whatever the hell this is, grind.
Yep.
And if we could get out of that and, live and enjoy this and, have some other thing where we actually give a crap about each other, that would be amazing. I see it. We have a hard time even, doing that without AI and all these other things.
Totally. Because it's hard to get out of it's momentum, right? And it's where we're at, and it's also survival in this sense, right? Mm-hmm. And also I feel you get to a level and you're yeah, this is amazing. It'd be super great if I was one little level right above this, And so then you go, oh man, you make $100,000 a year. God, if I could make $120,000 a year, I could go on a sweet European vacation and we could be bonding, but I can't do that now. And then you make $120,000 and you're $150,000. Oh man, that's where I could put a bunch away for retirement and do all that. And it's just it's a one-upping of to infinity, and something needs to break that cycle. So that you could be whatever.
It's the journey. Yeah. I love it. You're H.E. Higley's calling you a hippie, Ryan.
Hey, I feel it comes full circle.
I think that we're at this juncture, and we're getting to see some really interesting things happen in our lifetime at this point. And I mean, these next years are going to be phenomenal to see as we navigate them.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the show Pantheon, have you seen that?
So you told me that multiple times, and I need to watch that. I have heard
it's
that it is very good.
It's pretty interesting because Pantheon has another take on this where you basically download your consciousness into kind of like a computer. So it would be like, instead of being just an AI, it would be like, all right, I'm giving up the body and now I'm going to live in this other kind of world. And so I always get to thinking about AI and where we're at, and we're like, yeah, we're making this artificial intelligence, but what if there's a point in our life where we could download ourselves into an actual different body and still live in the way that we do?
Totally. Right before you're going to die.
Right before you die. Or
that's what you do, right? It's like you live and you interact with an AI version of you in an AI world, and you figure out how to run that person, and you slowly move yourself more over into that AI person until finally, when your body dies, you just slowly
like close your eyes one day and you open
and then you open it up
like
and you're just
sweet
like
Boston Dynamics body.
Yeah.
You're a little dog running around through the forest, creeping people
I
out.
assume it's just a VR, like thing basically.
Yeah, until they pull the plug on that.
Yeah, that's true.
We have had some really good conversations on AI up to this point.
Yeah.
Or you do Severance, enjoy your life. Oh my God. You know what? I just made that realization. Like, Mike is loving Severance because he's like, I want that to be real. I want that to be my thing.
Cut myself off from my work life.
Okay. Why have we done that?
Tell me about the Xbox handheld. Let's go.
All right,
let's switch it back to we're coming out of the clouds.
Everyone.
Shake it off, everyone. Shake it out.
We're really going to a different direction. So, wait, we had somebody that was in here earlier. Who was it? I don't know if he's still with us. It was Drew Dreamcast.
Yeah,
He's all stoked about his new PC. It makes
nice.
Sonic run faster.
Dang.
Heck yeah, fast.
Ooh, right.
He wants some Baymax robots.
Nice.
He should be all up in on this one. This is
Love
Xbox handheld. So who plays video games out there? Any?
God, they have been talking about an Xbox handheld thing for like a decade. I feel like it always comes up as this rumor. It always comes up as a thing where they're like, they're making their own handheld. They're making their own Nintendo DS. They're making their own Switch. Like they're making their own thing. And now I feel like those Steam Decks, like have you played with a Steam Deck before?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I feel like it's prime to do that. Prime to do it. So this is basically, they leaked it, right? They leaked the Xbox handheld is coming out this year, maybe?
No. I mean, I went deep dive on this. I have some hot takes on it.
Okay.
So, if you're not familiar, so this has actually been a thing that Xbox has been doing for a while. So it's going to take a little bit of a build up. So Xbox.
I'm gonna get a water while you talk about it.
Ryan loves this water. He drinks so much of my water, but I love to provide my water. Pamplemousse is the best LaCroix, by the way, just in case you've never had LaCroix. It's my favorite. Which one did you get? Oh,
Guava
you got
something.
Oh, guava's okay, but Pamplemousse will help you out. Okay, Xbox. It came out with hardware initially, right? The big old B controllers, the Xbox
Duke.
things, the Duke, and what had happened is that once you started to get into the Xbox Live era, is that they have been trying to build online gaming as their thing. Like that is what their bread and butter is.
Yep.
And so what's recently happened is they've made some announcements in the last year that saying, hey, you know what? We're opening our catalog. You could do that on Sony. You could do that on Steam.
Sure.
You could do it on these other things.
Yep.
They're making the run to say, like, we got a cool platform. We want that sub. We want that subscription right now because that's where we're going to make the money. The hardware doesn't matter anymore.
Yep.
Like, we made some cool hardware to stay in the game initially, but it's all about the subs because all the hardware could do the things that we needed to do.
They're all just PCs at this point. They're just
Pretty
PCs that are locked
computers.
on software, right?
And so what they've been really trying to do is they bought out Activision and Blizzard lately, so they got like this. They're gonna be here to stay. Like just Microsoft in general has made some major investments to stay in that game.
Totally.
So I think that what we're trying to see here is they're just trying to say, okay, here's the amazing amount of like different platforms that you can play our games, because Switch or Nintendo is not like, oh yeah, let me just put Xbox Live on my thing. They're like, hell no, we got our own platform. We're going to get our subs. And so they're like, okay, we got to test that out. Can we do something in that market to make a handheld? This is Adam thoughts, by the way. I'm not saying this is industry thoughts,
Sure.
but what they're doing in 2025 is it's not an Xbox official created device. They're doing a partnership.
Okay.
And so they're going to build a version. I think it's like codename Keenan or something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Yep, I read
and
that.
what they're going to be doing is developing a Steam Deck Switch style sized Xbox that runs some flavor of Windows 11 and integrates with the computer. In 2027, the rumor is that Xbox comes out with its actual handheld device created by Xbox and Microsoft.
Yeah, I could see that.
And so this next year, we're going to see some sort of release. We're going to see how it starts to work out.
Yeah.
And then you have a hardware. But the funny thing that everyone's talking about is like, they're like, it's hard. Are they going to screw themselves long term because they're not going to want to get anybody buying their sweet hardware? And are these other places going to pick up like doing Xbox Live or selling those other games to the level that they're going to continue to make the money? Now, they have licensing and they have some of these other things that are out there. Let's take a look at the box. I think that's a cool one.
Ooh,
They
have like renders of the actual.
this is maybe not the. It's a mock-up of what it could look.
Sure.
This is the Keenan version. So let's get this out on there.
This is just a Steam Deck. I mean, it just looks like a Steam Deck.
It's a Steam Deck, but what we're seeing here, close that little ad here. This is the one that they're going to likely drop in 2025. So it's a version of what they're kind of trying out with a partner, which honestly looks kind of cool. I kind of want it. Like, imagine, I don't know.
I think if I traveled more, I could see that. Right?
But would you think that everyone has a phone all the time? And so this is kind of like, do you watch TV? Do you look at screens, or do you want this thing that you have in your pocket that you can like connect to the internet and play things? It looks pretty interesting. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like, do you use a Switch? Like, do you use the Switch just walking around and playing your Switch? Like, I feel like it's really trying to bank on that, right? The same sort of
Handheld market.
yeah. Like, it's just, hey, are you able to? Because I heard that thing's going to cost like between $500 and $600, right?
Oh yeah.
And so that's basically the same as if you were going to buy an Xbox Series X, you know? So if you're going to buy an Xbox Series X and one controller, you're $600 in. So it's almost like, do you want which version of playing an Xbox do you want?
If
Do
it
you
plugs
want it
into your
more-
TV though, and you could use
I don't
it.
know. Does it?
I mean,
Does
I
it
don't
do
know.
that?
I mean, I would
know it
assume
doesn't.
that you're just like, they're like, here's the thing, you could plug in your TV, you
just
do
it
the thing.
over there. I am under the thing. I know Darth Gorokhan was saying like he collects physical games, right?
Yeah.
And so then I feel like there's a tactile sense of that. There's a thing where you're like, I own this. Nobody's going to brick this thing, and I'm going to like put it in something at some point, and it's not going to work. Like, you have a physical thing, you purchased it, you own that copy of it. You could probably play. I mean, Adam plays Game Boy games from 30 years ago at this point, 35 years ago, and he can still put it in a Game Boy and play that thing. And there is something to be said with that. I would say that like I have basically moved over entirely to like Game Pass is my thing that like we just have Game Pass Ultimate, and new games come out and I play them, and if I don't like them after the first couple hours, I toss it and I try something else. And it has really changed how I play video games. I used to be the type of person that went, I'm going to buy Mass Effect Andromeda, and it doesn't matter how crappy Mass Effect Andromeda is. I paid $60 for that game, and so I'm going to beat Mass Effect Andromeda. And now, if like Mass Effect Andromeda doesn't catch me in the first 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 hours, I'm just like, forget this. Like, I'll move on to something else.
So I as a alternative to that, I'm a little bit of a hoarder. I think I would be a little bit more like Darth Gorokhan, is that you want to have the ability to like get into those older games. I think we're getting to a point though where even those games that are physical, that are out on even on discs and things like that, like I think even discs are degrading faster than they thought. I heard some DVDs recently.
Yeah, did you hear that?
Are degrading.
They didn't put the right material on the back, and now they're like entire like runs of entire movies. Like you can't even watch them anymore.
But I like the idea of holding on to games, and like I think that's such a true statement, Darth Oricon, is that you can't find some of these games out there. It's like, oh yeah, here's the game, and then we had that limited run, and we don't want to put it out. We lost some weird like connection with the license, so we can't put it online, and now you can't have it. That sucks.
Yeah.
And
there's like a historical preservation.
They've been trying to do that, and that's been hitting up on some like challenges like the archive.org and some other areas out there. There was a game one that was doing that, and they got like shot down from being able to do some of that.
Yeah.
So it's like terrible because it's like that whole capitalism thing is that somebody wants to make a bunch of money, and so they're like they want those games to just like fall off, and then they can re-release or make a new version, and it gets lost. I think we always get off topic, but I think the idea here is like, number one, the newer systems as we see are going to be more like not being able to play physical games. They're going to be doing some sort of cloud thing. And so this is where sailing the high seas is going to probably be a bigger trend on other people as you start to go and figure out how to find those games so that you can play them in perpetuity as you go forward.
Yeah.
I for one love to have games that I have a version of. I've had some problems though, even recently. Like if you get DLC on games, so like I buy the physical copy, but then you have the downloadable content that makes it so that you can't actually play the game on the disc. Have you ever had that situation happen?
A disc right now is just a trigger to download the entire game off of the internet anyway. Like it's almost just like, here's my code that says, yes, I have purchased this game. Now allow me to download that entire game and play it off of the server anyway. Like it almost, games get updated and huge patches on day one. Like the game that comes out on the disc is barely playable to the one that is 3 months later down the road.
Yeah, that's the other side of it. It's not like baked in like they used to have those. So I think we're in a weird conundrum with that. So I think the future of gaming is going to be pretty interesting. Interestingly enough, we're building a game, Ryan.
Right.
And I think that's probably a cool part is the democratization of games out there. That's one thing that we haven't probably talked about is we're thinking like AAA games.
Sure.
And as you start to think about those little fun games out there, that's where I start to think that there is some cool opportunity. If you can find these different environments and these different communities and these fun things that you can play. I think at the end of the day, what's the point? You want to have an experience, you want to have a story, you want to have some kind of interaction that you really appreciate. I just questioned, Darth Oregon, how many of those old games do you actually play?
You know,
and how often do you pull them out?
Sure.
Like I play the Game Boy games, I absolutely do, but I play them for maybe 30 minutes, an hour. Sure. I don't go through all of them. I don't feel like I go through them as much. And so it's kind of like that whole idea as you grow and as you get through things, you may have all those books you read over the years, but do you ever read them again? Right. So it's like
how many board games do you play over and over again, right? Like how many are just like sitting on a shelf? How many, like you said, books? There's collecting for collecting's sake because you like the thing. It's part of like who you are. When people come over or people you think of yourself as like a person who is like enjoys that, wants to keep that, thing in the zeitgeist still, wants to show that off when you talk about it. Like part of that is just sort of that's the human nature of collections, right? It's not using it every day, but it's sort of knowing that it's there in case you could.
Thing. Yeah, you have. It's like the opportunity.
Yeah,
that you can.
Yeah, like I'm not doing it every day, but if I need to go back and play Kirby's Dream World, I can.
Ooh, I do want to go play Kirby right now. Now that you say that, Ryan, it'd be amazing. So, I have been a handheld lover of systems. So if I'm a Game Boy fanatic, I have a Switch. Yeah. Got my wife a Switch. Totally. Kids have played that. I have DSs. I think all of the different DSs that have come out. At Game Boy Advanced. I have the Game Boy SP. Like I love all of that and have them physically still. I don't know. I feel like I want an Xbox handheld because I think I talked about this. I imagined like back in the day, I was like, how cool would it be to play Halo on a handheld running around?
That's true. And I like the idea of a Steam Deck because then you can play everything that is, or a majority of things that are on Steam, like small little indie games and stuff like that you only get released on Steam. Play that in a little handheld.
Am I going to go for a Switch 2 is the question. We debuted or talked about the Switch 2 on the stream, and Ryan, there was a funny part where we saw there's that little part that we thought could break off. You thought that? Like, I had an old piece of tech that had something like that, and I was like, ooh, this is perfect. I'm going to try to break it was impossible to break the thing off. I was like, okay, maybe they figured out how to make that thing. I don't know. I didn't go deep enough to say, like, I want to do a Switch 2. I kind of feel like I like Nintendo games. There's a lot of them that they just make really fun.
Yeah.
There's some stuff that they've done lately that just seems like really, like, anti-gamer and the way that they approach, like, takedowns on people that stream games and have fun stuff on it. And so I'm a little soured to that market a little bit. And I like games that have a lot more seriousness to them, a lot more like grit to them. And not to say that Switch doesn't have that, but it's more of that like family friendly and those kind of funs. And so really fun stuff. But I think my gaming has changed out. What I do want to do more is couch co-op games and like in that split.
Make more of those.
Gosh.
Make more couch co-op games. That's what I want to say. We got away from that, but I feel like we're coming back. We're coming back to it. It's having a renaissance.
I am really hoping that is a thing because it's really fun. So,
yeah, nice.
You know, talking about games, maybe we could do some ChatGPT in a minute. But do you want to learn a little bit about Godot?
Sure. Let's do it.
Because then you could play a game that is just super basic, the most basic of basic games that you could ever play.
Talk about indie games.
Yeah, this one's so indie that it's like. It was freshly made. I finished this last night, by the way. That's how fresh this game is, Ryan. So
nice.
We got this keyboard that Ryan's gonna play here.
Oh, that's right. Mike Azul said in the chat you could play Split Fiction online with a friend, and only one person needs to own the game, which I think is pretty cool.
Ooh.
So like, if I own it, Adam and I could play it. He wouldn't even need to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Patent stuff.
Oh my god. And that's the other side of it. Yeah, you get like you can't do like mini games on the screen or something.
It's a very locked down whole thing. Right?
Oh god, I hate that.
Very locked down.
Ryan is gonna go to his normal restroom break. While he does that, I'm gonna get into Godot. So if you're not familiar, it could go by a couple names. Godot, Godat or Godot. I don't know what the other one was. Like, Godot? Gado. I think I said both of them. Anyways, so I've been learning Godot, open source game development platform. And as we've been using GB Studio lately to make our Game Boy game, if you want to check it out, you can definitely go check that Game Boy game out on our doubledropdown.com. You have a playable version. You can play it on your keyboard, play it on your phone. You can play it on a disc if you were to download it and flash a cart. So we were really having a lot of fun with that. I'd say we're a couple more months out from having a fairly solid game that we can say has a beginning, middle, and end on the Game Boy. What that allowed us to do is get about a year and a half, almost 2 years worth of experience of game dev. We've always had this dream. We made a bunch of stories around Skull Bobs. It's been something that was really fun for us to develop. The thing about a Game Boy is it's very limiting. And so the limiting factors are the way you can code. It uses the C language. But there was a lot of instances where I ran into a barrier. It was like, I want to do this thing that I know I should be able to do, and I couldn't do it on a Game Boy. And because of that, Ryan and I were thinking, we're like, can we build a game together? And so we did with GB Studio, and like I said, we'll be finishing that up fairly soon. But can we start to do something more modern? Can we have an interface that's a little bit more fun? So let's do this. We're gonna jump into what it looks like in GB Studio. Oh, I'm already showing something off right here.
Oh man,
I know it's not on
I'm keyboarding it, huh?
Wait, you're not gonna play it yet.
Okay.
Let me do the rundown
Sure.
of what we're looking at here. All right, so I'll make ourselves. We'll be that size for just a little bit. So we're in Godot right now. I feel like I've sat in this location that I'm sitting right now for a good 10, 15 hours to make this little game, going through some tutorials on where it's at. So Ryan, I want to kind of introduce you to some of the world and what we're looking at here before we jump into it. So first off, you see something, what's on the screen there, but a little rockety guy, right?
He looks a lot better than the circle that he was last week.
So you got a little bit of particle effects
Yeah.
coming out of there. I learned particle effects. I learned scoring on the board and things like that. So what I wanted to do, and the reason I wanted to do this is I want to see how much of this I actually retained,
Okay.
so I can kind of explain a little bit of what I'm seeing here, and then I'm going to have you play the game.
Okay.
So if you look at the setup here, and I'm going to hide Ryan and I just for a second, is that in the upper left-hand corner is where you're going to have what's called our scenes of the game and what is in a scene. And so we're in the main scene, which is called game. So you have a lot of generic things. And what you see inside of the scene, a lot of this stuff are instances.
Okay.
And those instances are also scenes. So I'm going to do some stuff. I'm going to open it up. So right now you're in the main game scene, but I'm going to open up our enemy. I'm going to go open a game over screen. I'm going to open a HUD screen. I'm going to open a path enemy, a player screen, and a rocket. So if you go to the right, you kind of have your main panel. And your main panel is you're creating these different scenes. And inside of the scene, it has different, what you call a node. And a node is up at the top here. And let me give you an example. So let's say I was going to create an enemy that has to be a specific type of a node that has these properties. And so when you think about like a property, so if I click on this property over on the right-hand side here, this is called an area 2D node. And basically a node is saying like, hey, I need something that has all these properties that I can manipulate off to the side.
Yeah.
So I need it to be able to like bump into things, or I need it to be able to like add these kind of transforms and stuff to it. So this is where we're going to have to learn about nodes. Nodes is a big deal in this platform. So I'm just going to give you an example. If I hit plus sign right here, and I will pull up these nodes, there's this long list of all of these different nodes that you could put into here. There's these 2D nodes, and as you can see, there's a lot of different things that you can create in there. There's collision bodies, all kinds of stuff. Long story short is we got to find our way through some of the nodes. That's what the training's been giving me.
Yeah.
And you do a collection of these nodes inside of a scene.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So imagine you create a couple different scenes. You're like, okay, I want a little game over thing to pop up on the screen at a certain point. Cool. Make the node for UI and add the labels and the other things to it.
Okay.
Go on and you make these different things. So there's like a HUD one. There's an enemy that's going to go on a path. You have a player node that clearly has a bunch of stuff. And so let's just dissect this one. You have a particle effect, which was a node, which is a particle effect node. Yeah. You have a ship, which is really just saying, hey, I could go and drop on an icon. This is what you're going to use a lot of. It's called a texture. Okay. So you basically go create a PNG, drag it into this little bucket over here, and then you can manipulate the shape using this inspector over here to get to the right size and everything like that.
Cool.
Then you have collisions. So you see this little capsule over the top. You see this little portion over the bottom here. What it's basically saying is that, yeah, you got your thing behind the scene, but for it to collide with things, you have to have kind of like a layer that collides.
It's like hitbox.
There is like, this is where it gets like a little bit incestuous because you have a rocket container. Basically, we have a rocket over here, and you place that rocket as an instance in here. So I basically had to say, hey, I want this thing to go shoot rockets, which are cool. So let's go create a rocket. So I did all the work to create the rocket, and then I had to put it into the scene or a container for it to say, hey, when I shoot the rocket, load this container up with one of it and then shoot it out.
Okay.
So up to this point, you saw a lot of visual stuff, like nothing from code, right?
Yeah.
The big point is you got your nodes that you clicked, you got your middle area that where you do a lot of your 2D design, and on the right-hand side, manipulating certain parts. At the very bottom on the left, you're going to see all of the different scenes. It's like basically the file structure of what makes the game. So different than the Game Boy Studio game. Well, I guess it's a little the same. When I gave you the Game Boy Studio, I would give you a whole zip folder. You would unzip it, and in the folder, there's a whole bunch of junk in there, and there's assets and all that. That's exactly what this is.
Yeah.
So the area that you didn't see is if you go up to the top here, you see there's 2D, 3D script, which is big, game, and asset library. If you go to the script, almost every one of these has a script, and this is where I spent most of my time is writing the scripts. And so essentially what happens is there's like a game script and there's a lot in here. So let's not even pretend like you're probably like, all right, this is starting to get a little ridiculous now. Like, how are we going to do this? If you go through the tutorials and you start to think about it and you start looking how this works, it starts to make a little bit more sense. And so let me give you a quick example. So if you're in this player, let me click over to this game right here. So we're in the main game scene right here. And you see inside the game, it says game, UI, HUD, background, and all these different pieces, right?
Okay.
So we're going to skip over a couple things, but see where it says on ready right here?
Yeah.
And it says var player and equals. So it says $player. It's referencing this player. So it's like basically saying, hey, inside the code, we need to know a connection to this object that's sitting on the screen. So this is what allows me to do that.
Okay.
Same thing with this one. HUD goes at the UI, and there's a slash to say there's a HUD in there. This is where I'm going to be living, so not asking you to live in this world. But as you start to go through this, it's creating what are called functions that allows you to like say, hey, set up a score and do some of this work, or I want you to like take some damage, and then these things talk to each other. So essentially, you have a script for the game, you have a script for the player. So like, what do you want the player to do? Basically saying like, okay, you want to have that rocket container, you want to have that sound that
sound
gets
effect,
loaded.
yeah.
And if I was back on, let's see here, let me click on the player. Here's how the player moves. This was almost the very first starting lesson. And there's some things in there you're saying, hey, first of all, we're going to load this thing that's part of the node. The node has like things that you can do to it. And one of the things you can do is create this physics process. Don't worry about some of the things behind the scenes here, but it's basically saying, okay, cool. Well, let's make a physics process. And what would that look like is if you push a button, and I had to program it to say, if you push the right button, move this direction in one way, and so on and so forth. And you make all these directions. What's interesting, and I'm going to stop looking at a lot of code because it's not going to make too much sense, is that when you start, you do a smaller block of code, and you understand that code. And then you play with it, and you're like, okay, cool, that makes sense. I can make the player move. And then you're like, I want to make him shoot a rocket.
Yeah.
Then you go and build that rocket code, and then you put that in there. And you're like, okay, cool, he's building the rocket. And at the end, when I finally was done, I was like, holy crap, that's a bunch of code.
Yeah.
But then I can trace where it connects, how it works with each other, and you get a game.
Nice.
So up to this point, I'm still convinced Godot is a cool platform to work.
Okay.
It's going to take me some additional effort. I used ChatGPT to go in there and help me like solve some issues with the code. And so it was cool because it's like, of course, we know Godot. It's a lot of stuff. So for this game, you have a choice. You have
coding.
Oh, did I just hit something? Oh, there we go.
Undo.
Yeah, vibe coding for sure. Actually, that was one thing. Check this out. One space will break the code.
Sure.
But what's super cool is it shows you like what will break within that code.
Okay, that's
so
nice.
It'll give you like a little thing like, hey, something's going on over there. You got to go figure it out. So I like how that works. So what we're about to do is you're going to play the game. This one is called Alien Attack. It's going to be super familiar. There's not really an end game. If you die 3 times, you're dead.
Okay.
You're not trying to save anything.
Sure.
So you have an option of using WASD. So I programmed it to where if you want to use the directional for WASD, you could do that. And then your shoot will be your question mark.
Okay.
Or you could use the directional keys here and use shoot as Z, whatever you'd like.
Sure. Okay. I'll try. Just straight up arrows.
Okay, so I'm going to launch the game here. And actually, let's do it this way. Ryan's about to play my game.
Okay.
And here we go, Ryan.
Oh, God. Nice. Oh, there's this path.
There's the path one. And you can go forward.
Oh, yeah.
And like the little particle effects, like kind of like go there.
They like move with it.
There's like this is a super easy game because you could just like spam shoot
Just like,
and go up and down and kill everything.
yeah, like I've figured out your game, Adam.
So like if you get hit by something, it will like subtract the score. You get hit,
Okay.
and then you die, and then there's a pause, and then it goes to game over.
Nice. Can I retry?
So then yeah, you come over here, and I didn't program like a keyboard cut, and I hit retry, and you're back into the game.
Nice. Yeah, I like the particle effects there, and it works good. A little snappy.
And so the movement was not in the tutorial. I tweaked it using vibe coding
Oh, nice.
because I wanted to have a little bit of a bounce to it. Anyways,
That works great.
so we loaded the font. You did all these different things. It made it scale to the screen. Godot, man. I think we could build a game. So
Yeah. Would you say that the stuff that you were learning here, like if from the type of game that we're going to build, does some of this like transfer over?
the next game, I have 3 tutorials. The first one was the maze. The second one was this one.
Okay.
Number 3 is a 2D platformer.
All right, let's do it.
So I have made the decision that because that we're gonna do this, it looks pretty sweet. Thanks. love the actions. So the next part of the game that I'm gonna be able to do is we could use the assets from Skull Bobs as I go through the tutorial because they're gonna load the assets. And so what I was hoping to do, and actually that might be something that we could look at some point, is I'll download the assets they give me, and I'll be like, hey Ryan, go just like skin all these assets and Skull Bob stuff.
Okay, nice.
And then I'll run through the tutorial and just make it with Skull Bobs.
We'll just have a
Like-
different version of Skull Bobs.
Different version
Godot-
just to do the
Godot.
prototype, and then
Yeah.
like I think that would be a hella fun way for me to like finish this because that's the end of this lesson. It's considered so what they did is the first lesson said, here's what the hell Godot is. Here's how you build basic stuff and use the platform.
Yeah.
This lesson was saying, here's actually how you code and start to think about it from like a little bit more of an advanced area. And then the third one is saying, like, okay, you got the basics. Let's code you out and start figuring it out.
All right, I want to play this platformer. Come on.
I don't have it. It's not ready yet.
Oh, it's not ready?
I have to build it, Ryan.
Oh, I didn't realize. I'm sorry.
No,
I thought you
I finished that last night.
That was great.
So if you want to see
Good
what the
job.
platformer is going to look like, and actually we could do that. Let's do this. I guess we could plug them for it. It's Game Dev TV is the platform that I'm leveraging.
Cool.
And
Ooh.
here, there's like a little bit of a. I was thinking like I don't know if it's like against their terms of service to show a little bit
Here
of
is
like
to create a strong base of knowledge from
one of their videos. So let me do this. I'll show you where the video is of him talking about this next game that I created. Here, this is I'm pretty sure this is cool to show
Yeah,
off.
we could just mute it, right?
Yeah. So if you're curious, if you wanted to check out this is what Game Dev TV is. Apparently they were like on Udemy or some other kind of things. Is you go purchase it, and what they give you is basically a bunch of videos, and as you go down them, you click off as you create the
Cool.
different thing. Off to the side, you have the video that you watch. What's cool is they give you the resources. Then they have chat and people that are helping you if you have questions.
Nice.
And like people put things in there.
That's good.
And so the first one, that's where we went to introduction and setup. That was the first one. It was called Speedy Saucer. Then I went through Alien Attack.
Okay.
Went through that. It says it takes 3 hours and 40 minutes to watch it, but it's probably like 7 to 15
Totally.
hours
Well,
because like
'cause you
pause,
actually have to do
rewatch.
things. Yeah.
I would sit there, watch a whole video, try to understand what they would do, and then I would go back and I would try to do it.
Yeah.
His little challenges in there. It's really good. You can see what the game looks like. So I'm about to get into what's called Martian Mike. So I think, yeah, what I'll do is I'll pause I'm going to play Martian Mike. And so Con Alper has been my awesome instructor through this. But he's talking about how we're going to go through here and we're going to create Martian Mike. And I think he does a little bit of a playthrough in a second here. So he's saying, like, we're going to learn all the details. We're going to make this work. So this is what it looks like. Maybe I'll blow it up big screen. So imagine taking Skull Bobs
Yeah.
and putting it over this.
Totally.
And so you have a little start point. Now, it's not going to be to the level that we have created in terms of like the guns and then the menus and whatnot.
Sure.
But it's enough like you die, you get restarted. It's almost like a Mario version of
Yeah.
Skull Bobs.
Right.
So I was thinking like
it's like very platformy.
we could do it like not with Roby. I was like, could it be like we do the skull or do like a like a vibe version of it?
Totally.
So he creates like 3
Like
levels
in the universe of Skull Bobs, but not actually the main story.
Yeah, because one of the things is that when he creates these worlds and you follow along, you basically get to pick how you do it. Like you don't have to use exactly how I was to a T, but I could like create whatever version of this I want. These little like things could be the beer bottles. Like this could be the sweet platformer part of us inside of the
It's Robert Decker like doing his adventures.
Oh my god. How sweet would we do the prequel game?
Right.
We should totally do that. He's climbing the mountain.
Yeah.
And these are we're like so think of what that is. So a background that animates obstacles you jump over, and when you get back you get to like a start point. He can't even beat this level, but we can create as many levels as we want in a platformer style to practice.
Yeah.
I think this would be a great practice in Godot. It'd be something fun. I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, totally. Like, I mean, you know, I always, like you said, we got to the point in GB Studio where like it's really limiting in the things that we can do. And in some ways that's good because it forces the scope to be small. But I think like just, you know, we have bigger ideas than that. So like you said, we want to finish like the Game Boy game to say like, we did it. We put all this time. We're like, I would say 50-60% of the way there, right? In it. I think we have to tweak the story a slightly bit so it just like we can sort of finish it with kind of like the level that we have right now and make it feel like its own contained thing. But other than that, then like we just start learning some of this stuff in the background. It's like how game development works in real life. Like you're developing and you're thinking about the next game when you're halfway through the first one because you want to be able to like quickly ramp up to that next one, which is kind of what we're doing right now.
You know what I've heard is that you gotta spit out a bunch of little like games and like get some pieces and parts together. So I'm feeling super like into this. I have a fun time coding. I have a fun time doing that. So if you're down, I'm
Nice.
down. I think it'd be fun to do something like that.
Totally. We got to talk at some point like what's the next steps with the actual Game Boy game, because we got like music coming in. I'm still like excited about that. Like we've been doing pixel art and stuff or like cutscenes. I think we just got to like condense the story a little bit so that it's all in the one thing and it feels like a cohesive little bit of a story of like just sort of the beginning. It's kind of the start of the story of Skull Bobs in that one piece, but I feel like it should still feel like it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's still a 3-act structure, but it's like inside, basically just inside the bar.
And you know what I was thinking? With after playing enough with this, what would be a sweet transition if we're going to continue this vibe with Skull Bobs, which I absolutely want to, is let's say we go through and we land the plane on the GB Studio, which we're shooting for 2025 to do that. I like that is my timeline.
Yep.
We have to do it in 2025.
Totally.
So you can take all the assets that we just created in the Game Boy game and we can use as many of them as we need in this game. And so, like, let's say at the end of the game, something happens and your spaceship takes off, and like Roby's like, no, or whatever like that.
Yeah.
We could cut into this game with that exact graphic. The little space shop flies
But,
off,
like,
and he's like,
the problem is
"No."
you can't use that exact one because then we're limited to the same amount
Listen,
of like
here's the cool
pixel
thing.
art that we have.
So
on
he
this
says
one.
no in this one screen, and then like something happens where he punches the ground, or like something drops out of the ship and it's all bleeps on the screen, and then he like turns into the
I
new
see.
sweet Godot character.
Totally.
Or like as the ship goes off, he goes into a black hole, and then when it spits out on the game, you're like in the sweet colored version of Godot.
Nice.
Like I think like just a little cool transition. You're like, oh, it's a Game Boy. Oh yeah, it's like the cool thing.
Totally.
I don't know.
I like that idea. Like something in fiction that
Yes.
that like shows why we're now at triple the amount of pixels that we were. Because I still like the idea of it being sort of pixel art-y version, but it's just like, oh man, like being able to get more than 160 pixels wide and 144 tall would be brilliant.
But the funny thing is, as I've looked at the game, is you can do that. Like people are still making 16-bit characters, which we're at right now.
Right.
So they are absolutely making their games like that.
Right.
Pixels tear open the screen and everything is photorealistic.
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
my
that's
God.
our next game, right? Like after we've mastered Godot, and then we just go straight into Unreal or whatever.
I think like there is a thought. There is a series that shows how to do a boomer shooter in here.
Nice.
So it's a 3D version, but it was sweet. It looked like it was a 3D-esque kind of game. It was like almost like 2.5D is what I'd call it. So it was 3D, but the characters were in 2D,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yep.
It
Like
looked
Castle
cool.
Crashers, kind of, right?
No, like it was first-person shooter.
Oh, okay.
Running around, but then like the enemies would like come at you, but they were 2D, but like whatever angle you looked at them, you were like, looking them right on. It was like a sweet looking
sort
style.
of like Doom. Right?
It was like
is that
Doom, but like still in like this weird 2D. It was really so you'd have like an icon of like a PNG, and it would be spinning around in 3D space, but it would be literally flat 2D.
right. Like
It
at
was-
some point, it sort of disappears. and then
disappears for
comes
just
back
a
in.
second.
Yeah.
It was like, and it was cool. It like I actually
That's
liked the
cool.
vibe on it. It was something pretty interesting.
Nice. Do you want to like? I feel like maybe we could play a Jackbox game. We could. I
What's the-
do want to do this ChatGPT thing.
All right,
like-
you just said Jackbox. You probably got somebody excited out there if they're still watching right now. All right, if we want to do a ChatGPT 4.5, we already said we were going to do it in the stream. We got to try it.
I want to do it because it's a legit thing that I like. I
All
feel and maybe it's not right now, but like, or I don't need it right now, but I do want to play it. All right, I want to play with it. So
I don't want to play with it.
Okay.
Play with it.
So here's the deal. ChatGPT 4.5 came out in the last few weeks. I've been playing with it a little bit. I feel like it's good. Like the thing that they have said is basically that it's good for like fiction writing, right? Like it's not a coder. It's not doing math amazingly well. It's not breaking any barriers, but it writes better. And right now it's sort of in beta. I think you get like 50 prompts a week or something like that. Like something. And here's the deal. We didn't have one last year, but typically every year we have a Halloween party at my house, a kid Halloween party. And I normally like we do all the normal things like, wrapping people up as mummies and all the fun, like, kid Halloween stuff, carving pumpkins, all that. And part of it is like tell a scary story every year.
Okay.
And it typically has some kind of it basically has like an interactive piece to it. Oh, I do. Why do you? It's like I wanted you to mess with it. I wanted you to mess with it.
I'm gonna mess with it. I didn't mean to hit enter. I was actually trying to get to the next line. That's a bad part of this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let it write for a second.
So anyway, what it is normally I tell a scary story, and it started out as sort of the simple like, oh, you're like touching, how you're like, oh, there's wet noodles and you're having the kids close their eyes and what, it's brains or whatever, right? Like it sort of started as that. And then as the kids got older, we were trying different stuff. And so I would do like, it always sort of has an interactive piece. It's it usually, now I try to have it have a jump scare at some point. Maybe I can say like one of them. So one of them I did where I said that like our that basically that our house was haunted by a little girl who used to live there and died, and that we sometimes hear her. And basically I put a Bluetooth speaker in the basement.
Did that here? Did this do it off your prompt?
Maybe it did. So like basically, yeah, that's almost like, so I put a Bluetooth speaker in the basement.
Knows you, Ryan.
And like, and I found little girl, like creepy Halloween music. And I told the story, and then I started it playing, right? And then I said, and the girl's like mom was super mean to her and was like, had this like long black gross hair and was like, you know, beat her and ended up killing her or something like that. I don't remember exactly how old the kids were and how graphic I made it. But then like they had them like, oh, you should go down there. And we had all the lights off and everything. And they were going to find her. And then Kathy was dressed up with like, she had like the wig on, and she came up behind them and scared them, right? And that was a good one.
Did they scream?
Like, yeah, you know, it was fun. That was a good one. We've been less successful with some of them. Like, I feel like if it gets too technology oriented, then like there's more to break.
All right, well here's the deal. We just put in your like description of what you wanted to do. I was going to start editing it and then I accidentally hit enter.
Okay.
So it kind of went in. It's like dim the lights, you know, it's basically get some ambiance in there, get the hidden speaker, preload a chilling sound. And like, I kind of scanned it. If you're looking through it, it's basically like, hey, these people are going, there was this whispering hallway, and they go down this hallway and they're out at night and they have to go and they find a sound and they pick up a head.
Okay.
And it's like, it says a girl head down whispering, "Pete, help me, help me." The figure slowly lifted her head, revealing hollow eyes, her mouth open, impossibly wide, releasing this chilling scream. So that's pretty creepy.
Sure.
And so
and then the Bluetooth speaker makes a sudden loud scream, basically. Right. And that's kind of been the gist of a lot of our stuff has been.
Okay, so all right, you want to jump into some Adam prompts here?
Yeah, I want
to see how I'd approach this one.
So here's the deal. Here's kind of the things that I want it to be, right? It's like we have kids, they're going to be 12 and 15, and they're going to have 12 and 15-year-olds around. So I feel like we're still in the, I want a jump scare. It can be scarier than it has been before. Like I would love, I feel like they can pay attention more. So if it was like a legit actual just like scary story that I was telling them that was like chilling and had, you know, stuff, and I had candles around, and it was like an actually just scary thing, and then something happened at the end or something happened in the middle or whatever, like that would be great. Because I feel like at some point I'm just going to transition into they're going to find that all cheesy at some point. And so I feel like I'm just going to transition into like reading tarot cards or something as the thing, like, and get away from the scary story. But I feel like they're still in the age where it could be a fun.
Here's the vibe. You've done a great job of describing it. The first thing that we need to do is, it's not the story. You need to work on the vibe of the ambiance.
Okay.
And so if you preface this, and this is, I'm going to put some human in here so that you can get it. It's, if you want to nail this right, is it can't come on the pretense that it's actually going to be a scare thing. That if they come in knowing you're going to have some production around it, like, you have to just be like, hey, we've done the scary stories all these other years.
Yeah.
And so you're going to have to use some deflection at the beginning. And we're like, this year we're going to do some stuff with a Ouija board.
Yeah.
And so where you got to do is you got to like butter them up of like creating experience in real time.
Yeah.
That's going to do that.
Well, like, so one year I feel like I've sort of done that, but you know, definitely want to, you know, it could totally have a different thing. Like one time I found there was like, I had a Black Widow spider in my window well. And so I took the Black Widow spider and I put it in a jar, and I had like a tarantula in my window well that had died, and so I put the tarantula in the jar.
God.
And then I had we had like spidery things, and I was like, this is legit, like these are, you know, legit spiders that would like kill, you know, I played it up a little. And then downstairs in a thing, I had like put fake spiders in a thing. And then when they came downstairs, they were looking at it in the dark, and I sort of pulled a thing and it like dropped a bunch of spiders on them. And I was like, cause we had all these spiders, check out these spiders. And I was like, I think there's like an infestation of spiders in the house, legitimately, you know? And it didn't, again, like if there's too much, like when I pulled the thing, it didn't make sense and they didn't knew what was going on at that point. And so it was like too complex. Like, so I'd rather it just be like a legit scary story that maybe has some kind of, it's almost like it needs, because here's what I found is the most important part of it. It needs an ending where people know that's the end of the story. Ooh, like one year I did tarot cards, and I had tarot cards and I did a little pretendy reading, and then I had a magician's wallet that had the flames come up.
Okay.
And so what happens is when you open the wallet, there's almost like you spray it with lighter fluid, and then you have a little like it almost has like a lighter flick thing, and so then you flick it and the flames go whoosh and they go out of the top. And I was like talking about like, you know, the haunted place or whatever, and that they didn't like this reading or something like that, and things were happening, and it was a build up, and when the flames went up, like that was the end of the story, and everybody was like, yeah, like it felt like a good ending to it. So I need like a jump scare or something at the end that sort of says.
And I think part of this is here's the thing. I'm gonna just give you some initial tips because I don't think we're gonna land it today. And maybe what we could do is share this on the website. I think that would be a great.
I would
way to
love
do that.
to have other people like help me with that and come up with like this cool thing. We got a few months to figure it out.
So we have to juice the dopamine is one of the things. So what I was basically saying is like, we need a scary story to tell high school students that ends with some kind of jump scares. That's what you said.
Yeah.
So we don't want to act like they are about to hear a story. We need to build up ambiance and an activity that we can work around to build up the story. So that's kind of what we discussed. It has to be realistic. The kids are about 15 and the story can be chilling, and there can be some very scary parts that we want to create. So, I would start with that. So I'd say, I take what you say and I throw that in there first, see what we come up with. We will need to be less technical to ensure that things don't go wrong.
Right. Mike Azul was like, introduce a third party that is known to everyone there, like a knock at the actual door, right? Like, I like that idea. And I feel like the problem with the stories is I come up with them like literally the day before, and we don't practice it or we don't do anything. And I need to like bring Kathy into it, right? Or I need to bring our kids into it or something, or like have one of them be part of it. Clue movie style. I like that. Like shutting off all the lights all at once is a good like thing. Like that could be something.
Yeah, you need a accomplice in the.
Yeah, and usually it's Kathy. It's just I usually can't. Like I need the pressure of it literally being the next day for me to get the thing of what I want to do, and so then we don't have time.
Well,
to
so now you have a whole year to design
so
this.
Now we have 7 months.
So first of all, you take some sort of animal and you murder it and you put it in your backyard and you bury it and then make sure the grass grows out on there and you're gonna go out and you're gonna resurrect the animal.
Love it, Pet Cemetery style.
Yeah. No, like I think there's like I imagine the Ouija board being like an example of one, because that's usually like you got to think of what the age is and what they do. Yeah. So like if you're helping with it, you could kind of like move it to say something.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh my God, it's it's like
the only problem, like you would need an accomplice at that point, because they'd be like, you're just moving it, Dad. Like you tell a scary story every year and now we're having a Ouija board and it's moving with your fingers on it. Get over yourself.
I wasn't even saying that would be the thing, but like
magnets underneath. Like I've thought about that before.
But an example of how you could create things. Like I thought about it is that like if you did the Bluetooth speaker, you could have it to where you hit play and it's just silence for a long time.
Right.
And then you're just reading knowing that like I've read this many times, and at this
Right.
moment this
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
like happens.
It's like 6 minutes or something.
and like you
that,
like
right?
freak out on
Yeah.
it too or whatever.
Totally.
And that would be an example of it. But okay.
Yeah, I like that idea.
That can be set up beforehand. All right. I feel like I'm on pressure to like do the epic prompt, but so first I would do is I would definitely start with this, and I'm seeing that there's canvases showing up. So have you been using Canvas that much?
Not really. I feel like it has been doing that more often. Because then you can go in and you can say like,
You
oh,
can
just change
highlight
this part,
a
right?
second
Yeah.
or a part. Look, it's like it took the exact same story. It's like dim the lights, hide a Bluetooth speaker.
Here's the thing that I always find. You know how when you do something and then you go like, oh wait, stop, I need to like redo that prompt. I didn't mean to hit enter.
Yeah.
Or you go in there. I always feel like it does a worse job. I always just like
On the second
delete the whole
round?
thing and go new thing, paste it in there, and for some
I don't know.
reason.
I tweak it a little bit. So as it gets into here, what's kind of nice about what I'm getting is I want to see like, okay, what does that prompt produce? That's the first thing. Like you gave it some ideas as to how you might like I described what you said. I said, okay, this is the vibe we're trying to go for. I like that. We're going to use some vibe prompting or whatever. But then you have to say, okay, well, and this is what I'm like the emotion that I'm trying to get or the response that I'm trying to evoke from what we're trying to create. Then you start to like get to where like what does that produce? What does the prompt give you?
Yeah.
And then a lot of times I'm like, I'm not sure like that is what I was wanting it to do. So then I'll go back to this prompt and then I edit it a couple times to be like, no. You did that wrong. Like I don't even say
Yeah.
no, you did it wrong. I keep adding
Just
those
changing
elements,
things, yeah, that are
shooting it back
deleting
down
part.
and
Yeah.
looking into this. And then it gets to a point where I'm like, okay, the formatting is there and it has the elements that I want and I crafted the prompt to the right area. So I feel like this is clay for a minute until I get like a viable thing that I can work with.
Yeah.
And then this becomes the new clay model that has a bunch of detail in it. And then on this side of the house, like let's see what it came up with. It's like setup, which was cool. So do this beforehand.
It's like go into a classroom.
Yeah. Choose a classroom.
Yeah,
So
I
if you're
guess we need to be like, it's gonna be at a house. It's gonna be at our house.
because you said it's high school and jump scare.
right, well, high school kids.
Right, but that's what like it
It doesn't
sniffed
know.
it out.
It
It's like,
doesn't
oh,
know.
you're in high school, so we need to do a thing. So it has some like laughter and whispers, arranged chairs. That's interesting. So this one is definitely giving you that like it gives you the ambiance, but it also shows you that you're getting set up for something. But you could be like, we're just gonna have this little spooky time together.
Totally. I feel like subverting expectations,
There you
right,
go.
is part of it. So it's like you think we're doing this for funsy little like, wimpy story thing, but then like, holy shit, it's going off the rails in this way that you didn't expect. And then it's like almost everything just ends with a loud scream or something, like, or crazy flash, like,
Light as a feather, stiff as a board.
oh, right.
You know what's interesting is like as you describe that, and I feel like this was a good example to start it out. We're going to continue. This was 2.4 is what we were trying. And so I don't see it being much different than what 4.0
What a normal-
was do.
what a normal
like
4.0
this
would
feels
do.
like. So I'm going to play with this. You're going to see this version that we did on the stream tonight. I want to give me some time because I got some ideas.
Okay.
And I will sit at a screen and I'll show you what I normally do. This is what I normally do. I go in and I do a new text document and I start writing my prompt in text. I don't even get in GPT and I will just write and I get a clean text and I keep going back and forth and I put a lot of spaces and then like, here's the action. Here's what I need you to do next. So I'd spend a lot of time in this text box.
Well,
Then I check into it.
hey, I mean, maybe you can earn yourself an invite to our Halloween
Oh.
party.
Maybe
if you
I'll be
wanna-
the one behind
exactly.
the scenes.
You got to be like, it's just like, oh, Adam's here, Ashton, Carson's here. They're here for the Halloween party, but really, you're just a ringer for this amazing, like, scary story that we're gonna do.
So here, if I were to do this, and like, where my first thought is that you definitely have to have something that's going to be like gross and like creepy in there.
Yeah.
Like even if you went and got some guts and meat and bones of something, and like you start telling the scary story, and then like to subvert the expectations, you start telling the story, and you have to have like a cheap effect that happens. So
something that people think is the thing that's going to be the scary thing.
So then they think that, and then like they're like, oh yeah, whatever. And then as you do that, the real thing kicks in, and you have to be like visually like, holy shit, like I didn't do that. Like, and then you go to like the Bluetooth speaker or whatever, and you're like turning it off in front of them.
Right,
They're
I
like,
can see that.
what was that?
Yeah.
Like, and then that other thing starts happening. You gotta be like double subvert the thing.
Nice. I feel like it's just I feel like if we we have 7 months, right? Like we could come up with something. I feel like we could come up with something neat to practicing it or whatever. Yeah, it's not turning off.
Yeah.
And you know what I found? Like one thing that I realized was that the a Bluetooth speaker, even turned up really loud, unless it's like, I don't know, like it wasn't loud enough. Like I had a thing where it was like, it was supposed to scream, and I had like, it'd be like, it was like, and it built up, and then it screamed like in like 5 seconds. And at one point I triggered it, and like I had played with it beforehand, and I was like, yeah, that's going to get them. And just like you're at a party, people are talking, there's things moving around, you're doing stuff, and people were like, what was that? And I was like, damn it, that was the script. That was supposed to be the thing. Like, so we've definitely had some like issues, where it doesn't turn out. And then that sucks. When it ends and the thing doesn't hit, then you're just sort of like, well, that was the end. And everyone's like, okay.
Well, you need like Heather said, she has some makeup skills.
No,
we could like
right?
go full bore on this.
Totally.
I think, it would be cool if you honestly would to do that. If you're a high schooler, is if you do it at your house, it's like the wrong way to do it. You have to like go to some place or go to some creepy thing and have somebody set up to do it all creepy.
But I feel like we just need to barely top next year's, because you can't go to 100. Right? Because then what do you do next year?
Because
you rent
last year, dude.
Rent an entire thing and do it like, it's like, you almost have to just like do it just enough and do it just crazy enough where it gets everyone. Ryan, and then they're like, yeah, that is fun.
Your expectations are out the roof,
but like,
son.
But then next year, then you do it like in a different way or a different part of it. Yeah.
All right. I think that these folks have earned what? Do we want to do
we're going to do a Jackbox.
Who wants a Jackbox? Anybody want a Jackbox?
For the end of the night.
Yeah, we can end the night with the Jackbox. We were going to do some game stuff, but we will pivot for the show and not do Game Boy game development if we get a thumbs up. Yeah. If we get some chat feedback.
All right. You're going to run in the other room,
I'm gonna go
and I could just vamp for a little bit. So one of the stories that we did, because God, we've been doing scary stories for like seven years, something like that. I have like 7 of them. One of them we did where I was telling a scary story about like a person that used to live at the house, and then I kept getting packages from them with creepy things in them, and then like I had a package and I had my arm crammed into the package that was like, had, I don't know, I think it had some stuff on the hand or something like that. And it was inside of the package. And then I was like, let's see what's in this package. And then my arm burst out, and then I started choking myself. So it was like the arm was in there choking myself, and one kid cried. So maybe that was a little too far.
Wait, when was this?
I would say they were like 3rd grade or something like that.
I think the age thing kind of screws you at some point.
Well, and that's why I was saying, like at some point it just changes into like, I feel like if they were all high school kids and they were like 17 or 18 and 15 or something like that, I feel like you can't even do things like that. It's just going to feel cheesy. And so then you just start doing real things. Like, I think it would be fun to do actual like tarot card readings, and you'd be like, yeah, come here, come and get your and I would just do it in like a creepy, way, like angle everything towards bad things or something. But just like doing legit tarot card readings, I think would be fun. Or like doing an actual seance or something where we actually try to bring, something and just research it and do it. Like, I think that could be interesting. Okay, are we good? Can I come
think
in?
we're good. Come on over. We got some stuff over here. I don't know which one we're gonna play tonight. That's the question. All right, hold on. I need to pick. What do we want to play tonight, chat? Anything out there? Any requests?
What do we usually? Usually we have what? Drawful. We usually got Yeah, I feel like having other people in on it to sell it is good. And to like practice it a few times, I feel like is important. Because I feel like I feel like we oftentimes have good ideas, but I don't practice it enough, and so the timing, it's off. Like just like comedy, it's all about the timing.
Yeah, it's a big one. All right, folks. I don't know if we have any kind of chat ideas as to what we want to play tonight. We've done. Have you done Quiplash? We have done Quiplash.
Okay, we could do Quiplash.
Which one is that one? Is that the?
It's sort of. I think it's You're like answering, not answering things, but like trying to fake it out, aren't you? Isn't that
Let's see what boxes I got the naughty pack. I guess we're just playing Cyberpunk. Just kidding.
You gonna get back to Cyberpunk, my friend?
I am. I just needed to get I need to get through some of these first months. Man, they blew away. Man, Drawful is like is the one. Who wants to play some Drawful?
Adam just is like, hey, chat, what do you want to play? And then they're like, oh, these things. And he's like, yeah, guess what? Fuck you. We're playing Drawful too.
Damn it. Ryan used it for the night. You can use it.
I knew it was coming.
I know.
We were coming up to the end, and I was like, I'll use it. We get one F word.
Yeah. How many shits do we get? I think we
Yeah.
can have a couple
I
of them.
think you
used
get
a few.
infinity shits.
Where is Quiplash? All right, here it is. Here's Quiplash.
Quiplash is fun. That's like a Jackbox classic.
We're doing Quiplash. It was chat request.
Yeah.
Is it in this pack?
Can you put it in the thing? Can we change it, or do we want to just leave it?
We're just gonna do it. Oh, it's Quiplash 2.
Quiplash 2. I think they made like 5 or 6 Quiplashes.
All right, here we go. What if it doesn't connect?
I know. Well, we're ending the show early. Boom.
Oh man, I'm slow at this. Is that a G? All right, we're going to give everyone just a second here. We may have somebody else join us. Jackbox.tv. If you haven't played with us before, I don't know how the audio is. Is it really loud tonight? It's loud for me in this headset.
It's loud in my headset.
But I don't think it's loud for everyone else.
No? Okay.
I don't know, maybe it is. It's loud-ish. Oh, you know what I can do? Just escape this. I forgot on the computer I put it up.
I forgot. I can control all of these things.
Maybe. Oh, I have a knob for that. There we go.
There we go. That's a little more reasonable, at least for me.
Like, I do need to use my ears.
Well, it's like, do I really need to hear this, like, fun jazz?
All right.
There we go.
Mike
Mike Azul. I was hoping Art Girl might come in, but she might be too late. Might be too late.
All right, here we go.
Should we do it?
Let's kick it off.
Hello, I'm Schmitty, and I hope to meet or exceed your expectations. You know, it's not too often I see a group like this, thankfully.
Classic.
At least
This
there's not
is
just
round
fart
one.
noises the
Two
entire
prompts
time.
will appear on your device, which you can answer in any clever or not clever way you want. Everyone will choose between your answer and someone else's, and decide who wins. You'll score points based on the percentage of people who prefer your answer. Have at it.
Ugh,
All right.
I don't know how
got
good I
this.
am at these.
All right.
Oh God, I have two?
Yeah.
Oh,
8,
jeez.
15 seconds.
Almost out of time. Use the safety quit button if you have to.
10, 9, 8, 7. All right. We're in.
Okay.
Okay, moment of truth. First off, how the Monopoly guy really earned his wealth. Okay, everybody pick your favorite.
Yes! I had to add dick at the end.
That was your
Next,
first one, huh?
Yeah.
In the future, robots will do everything for us, except blank.
Okay.
Vote now.
Dick is key.
I knew. How do I know that was anonymous?
Yeah.
You got quipped.
Next up, new high school superlative most likely to blank. Vote on your devices.
Me. Oh man, close.
Coming up next, the worst bachelor party would involve blank.
Oh,
It's
God.
voting time.
All right.
Yeah.
That was my one that I just had to come up with something quick. I had 15 seconds.
Next on deck, a text message.
Your mom would
that
make bachelor
Jesus
party
sends
great.
at
That's
3 a.m.
you know.
And vote.
Three a.m.
Needs the stop masturbating and go to bed.
Yeah, somebody got that reference.
What
That
is
water
that? I don't
pocket is
know.
gonna be wine, wine, wine. He turns water to wine,
That's
baby.
it.
that's
Let's see the scores for round one.
Oh, good
Ooh.
one. Okay.
On to round two, where all points are doubled. Doubled, I say.
Oh my God.
hit the safety quit button if you can't think of something.
Oh, sure I can. 6 seconds.
I did bad this
Cards on the
round.
table.
Not a good.
I
not
did
a good
terrible
round.
this
There's
round.
a secret monument in the Washington Mall called the Blank Monument.
Oh God!
Okay, pick your favorite and vote.
All right, somebody's testing the theory, Ryan.
It's a good theory.
Theory. Good job, sir.
Next prompt. Something you shouldn't say to a mafia godfather. Ready, set, vote.
Oh, nice. Oh, okay. All right. I like got your nose. I like that one.
It's true.
You wouldn't want to say that.
Next in the hopper, a good sign there's an invisible man living in your apartment. Get to voting.
Oh God! Oh my goodness. Classy.
Classy. You can't do a better one next time, Adam.
Oh, I know.
They could beat
A
that.
terrible thing to
What
carve
if it
into a
was Dick
tree. Put in your votes.
Hashtag winning.
Yeah, he does.
Boom.
A smaller, uglier tree.
That would be bad to carve into a tree.
Oh heck yeah!
Moving on. The sequel to Shakespeare in Love would be called Shakespeare in Blank. Vote away.
Oh my god, my thing came off.
Oh yeah.
Anything to Electric Boogaloo.
That's all for round 2. Let's see where the points went.
I quiplashed twice. I should
did?
Be,
You're in the
feel
lead.
Like, I should feel like I gotta be in the
Oh
lead.
my God. Mike Azul with his dicks.
Crushing it with dicks.
And now round 3, the last lash. This time you'll all be answering the same prompt.
Oh God.
Okay. And you do like multiple of them, right?
Write a
I'm not
quip
sure.
using these word lash rules.
I only get one? I thought I was gonna get multiple ones. Oh well.
Oh God.
Ten seconds.
Oh crap.
3 seconds.
I effed up.
And here's what you did. It's round 3, so you've got 3 medals to award. A gold, a silver, and a bronze. Make your picks.
Jeez. Oh God. I knew there was gonna be some dick in there. Wait, how do you just click the one that? Oh, I gotcha.
Oh, and your silver medal.
Quiplash is pretty fun. This is number 2, right? Yeah. I forgot about this one. There's a...
Okay, who's taking home some medals? Bronze. Bring out the silver. And finally, gold.
Yeah.
Let's see what the medals to points exchange rate is these days.
Trying to me. Is there a Jackbox
let's
Naughty
see
Drop?
those final
There it is.
scores.
Trying to me for the win. Yeah. Poop.
Top answers of the game.
All right.
We do naughty drawful for the end.
All right. This is a late night version.
Late night naughty
We
drawful.
try not to do this because it's not stream appropriate, but
We're
just
gonna
because.
get banned. We're gonna get banned from Twitch.
Yeah. Oh wait, I need to update it. Oh my god. That means it's probably
Yeah,
terrible.
I'm sure it's gonna be this epic, 40-minute update for Jackbox.
It probably is.
You got. I thought you had that fast internet here.
Yeah, we're thinking. Oh, look at that.
There you go.
310
It's worth it.
megabytes.
310 megabytes. Damn, we could have done that on dial-up.
It gets to put all those fart sounds in there.
it's the new fart sounds.
Remove all the things. This is
No, I can't believe the naughty version of Drawful doesn't have fart sounds, right? I feel like that's the opposite of naughty.
it is terrible. There's some terrible things in this one. It's like it's borderline. I looked on Twitch a lot of times. I was like, is this appropriate? Like, is it a game? They have a whole list of games that you can't play.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's true. There's all those like Steam, basically sort of porny.
Yeah, well,
Korean
and
games
they
stuff.
have a bunch of those
Yeah.
in there that are like, you can't play this.
No.
Don't ever play this game.
Yeah.
Or you'll be
I feel
banned.
like that's all.
How come
like, nudity.
finishing up? What is it doing? Throwing the
It's like
tissue in the. All right, we're there. Naughty pack. Save it for the game. Hey, come on, you got that reference. There we go. There we go, folks. Welcome to Naughty Drawful.
Dirty Drawful.
Dirty Drawful. I remember it having like some very inappropriate components to it as far as the visuals. Yep.
I love that. The owl.
Oh, this has like backspace. You can undo.
Oh, nice.
Everyone's like going real hardcore on this one. Oh my god. We got 5 players. This is great. I love it. Oh god. Oh my
I don't believe that's a finger. Like it's a little.
Uh-huh.
Somebody just named themselves Dick.
Nothing to see here. Also purple. This must be the most epic.
Dig drawing of all time.
Are we ready for this?
Okay.
Get your drawing in there, Dick. I'm starting the game. Wait, does it start with whatever you got? I can't tell if you're
I bet
actually
so.
drawing. Oh, there we go.
There we go. Nice. Like
There we go.
It's like Plankton's wife.
Love it. Even with the smutty
Is
music.
Dirty Drawful, the horniest game since Tetris. What? This game will have 2 rounds. Follow me into the game.
Nice.
By now, you should have a prompt on your device. It might be kind of hard to draw, like climate change made me late or ancient dildo. Create a drawing on your device that fits the title. When you've finished, hit submit. The more players that guess your correct title, the more points you'll get. You've got this, probably.
Yeah, you literally draw this.
Don't forget you can still join the audience by going to jackbox.tv and entering the room code.
Oh, you only get a certain amount of undos.
Oh, really?
Or
Oh, you get
it's
7.
counting. It's counting my
TikTok
undos.
artistes, it's time to start overthinking your choices.
Wonder why it does that. Oh crap. 7 seconds? Whoops. Spent way too much time on that.
Way too much time
Check
on
out the first
a non-important part of that
I
drawing.
didn't even. I don't think I met the. Oh my
This
god!
drawing could be titled, and write it on your device.
Oh Jesus.
Oh, it didn't let you submit? No, I think it just automatically submits, doesn't it?
Hopefully it does.
I think it does.
I'm hoping it does. That is so bad. Oh God. I took our camera off specifically because I thought this was going to be vile.
You're like, I don't want my face associated with this.
I'm glad that there's reactions.
Yeah, that's fine.
Type something.
Who has to type something? Is it me?
No, no.
Oh, it's.
This was my drawing, so I'm not typing.
Yeah, I submit. Maybe
It's just
somebody
something-
wasn't allowed
something
to
else.
submit.
I don't know.
Here they all are. Which title do you think is quote unquote correct?
Oh God.
Who got duped?
We got duped.
Yeah.
Yay! Locksmith uses his boner. I'm glad
double down.
that looked like enough of a lock.
It's terrible. It's terrible, Ryan. All right. Here we go.
This drawing makes a lot of sense on a global scale.
Okay. What?
Okay.
You're like, I spent the first 30 seconds just shocked
Friendly
that
reminder
this
to
is what I
submit a
needed to do.
The right answer is in here somewhere. Time to vote.
Oh man.
Let's check out the results.
Dope. Good job, Mike Azul.
Now that yeah, it's this one, right? It's gotta be.
What?
I don't even know. I feel like it would have been mine, except for instead of a lock, it would have been a roast chicken.
I mean, the roast chicken part, it definitely looked like that.
Here we go again.
Oh God. This is so dumb.
Come on, type something.
Okay.
I ran out of time. I'm gonna be honest. This is mine. I had to hit submit.
Okay, there you go.
There would have been something amazing
And
else
are
on
the
here.
options.
Oh, you know what?
These are good. These are good. I don't know. I don't actually know which one the. No, I'm not doubling
Let's
down.
see
on
what people
any of
pick.
this. Nice. Good job, Mike.
Good job.
Good job.
Oh, damn.
Babe.
How'd you know?
Wow. I never would have guessed that.
I was gonna put a puzzle box on there or a board game box. That was where I ran out of time. Good job, guys.
Good job. Like, they just start using words from the
Enter
thing.
your title now.
It was like quite literally the one. You thought that was not real, huh?
I feel like I leave my phone up and then Adam's looking at it and cheating.
Dude, I can barely see.
Whatever.
Well, this is what the group came up with.
Oh God.
Who voted for what? Let's find out.
Good job.
Damn.
That was good.
That was a
We
great
got
one.
it.
I hate
Yeah.
when this happens.
I couldn't.
Double down.
Can you double down on every one of them?
No, you only get to do it once per round.
All
or
right.
whatever.
Good job, Mike Azul.
Yeah, that was good.
I got a thumbs up.
Look at this perfect disaster.
Oh God.
Time is ticking. Write faster. Time to ... vote! Exclamation point.
Oh God. These are bad.
It's not that hard. Make a choice. I can't wait to see what happened.
Good one. Stop giving Mike Azul points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn it. Ah, woohoo!
Nice. Dang it. Mike Azul. Killing it.
He's got it. Tonight, he's dirty. He knows the dirty stuff.
I'm losing to Adam Pocious.
Hey, I win this
All right,
sometime.
y'all, we're doing this again.
He's in his
Your
lane.
new title is on your device, and your device is conveniently in your hands.
If you do the new prompt, it's usually harder.
Oh, man, really?
Yeah, I've done it. God, some of these are so hard.
Seconds left. You still have time to ruin this.
That's a good one. 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
The drawings are in. Let's check them out.
Like, so true. Like 30 seconds. You still have time to ruin this.
Ooh, I want to eat this one for some reason.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. Ryan tries to hide his phone like I'm actually going to look.
Yeah, because you're a freaking cheater.
Whatever. I don't think I've ever cheated on you.
Ooh, there are some pretty good options here. Well, there's one.
Okay.
These are good. It's like I'm not going to double down on any of these because I don't know.
Please vote. Alrighty, let's see what you did.
Damn it.
You
When
know
you're the
coming off
first
of-
one.
You're the first one, you know you effed up.
Yeah, you did. Woohoo!
Good job. Got me. I got somebody.
2 people.
Woo!
I almost picked that too. This was silly.
It was silly. Oh man.
Oh, this is what
Good.
I'm
I needed
You needed
Michael
that.
to not get any.
I can see the corn dog thing now. Damn it. Stay up there, Mike Azul. I'm rooting for you, buddy.
This drawing is emotional for me.
The streak ends.
Oh no.
Not to be dramatic, but you need to submit something soon or the game is ruined. This is what we're working with.
Oh man. Oh, wait a second.
Alrighty, let's see what you did.
Duh.
Me and you. Getting,
Good one.
Getting
I know, right away.
Oh man, what a weird one.
Doing taxes.
Yeah.
That's great that you nailed that.
Yeah. I did not. I got 0, I think.
Mike Azul still at the top.
Still top of the stack.
Think of a good title and write it down.
Oh my god. Dirty drawful.
Write your little heart out. What a spread, yeah.
I'm burning the Second
Okay, time
Amendment.
to vote.
Yeah. Some of these are decent.
I never am confident enough to
Let's see
double
what
down.
happened.
And I obviously shouldn't have been.
I
That's a good
knew.
one. It wasn't right, but that's a good one.
Yeah, it was. It was a really good one. Yeah.
Wow.
It's very graphic. You're welcome. Uh-oh.
Time to bang out a title.
Oh.
You know what makes this one harder is like you not only have to think of something funny, but it has to be dirty, right? Or like it
You don't have
won't,
time to be perfect. Just do your best.
Yeah.
it won't make sense if it's not dirty.
Yeah,
Well,
it isn't.
this is what we've got.
Ooh. I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah.
Behold the results.
Come on, Heather.
There you go. I think it's close. Is it that?
Yeah.
I was just thinking, I should have doubled. Oh, I didn't even have double down.
Not gonna help me enough.
Final drawing.
Oh God.
Write something down.
I feel like there was different sound effects. They must have changed some of it.
Are they not? Do you feel like these aren't as dirty?
Yeah. They're not as bad as they were
There's
before.
like lots more moaning and stuff. I feel
It's
like
decision
last time.
Okay. Oh man, there's some good ones here.
Okay, who voted for what?
Not confident. Yeah.
Beef.
Yes.
Oh. There it is, folks.
Nice.
Oh my God, from behind?
Heather pulled it out at the end.
Damn.
Great job.
Just killed it.
Yay.
That was fun, guys.
Yeah.
Oh God, most emoted for sure.
Came in from behind.
Yeah. This is
Double
Heather's
entendres.
favorite game is
Double
Drawful,
entendres.
for sure. All right, folks, we're over on the
We're
time
over
tonight.
time.
That we did it for y'all. Thanks for hanging out tonight. It's a
Yeah.
fun ass night tonight.
Totally.
Thank you so
Good
much.
discussion.
We
Love
will see you next time on Double Drop Down.
Yeah. Have a
Till
great
then,
Friday.
See ya. Have a good Friday. Good weekend.
Yeah.
See ya. Peace out.
Bye.